Chapter 541, Raging Inferno Dantian. On his way to the medicine garden at the bottom of the lake, Chen Shang spent 1 month understanding a small part of the fire god law. After reading the mantra in some early pages, he realized that the fire god law was very suitable for him. He had long been worried about not being able to fully exploit his fire soul martial arts. Although the vermilion bird divine art was powerful, it was only a type of offensive martial art that enabled him to perform his fire attribute a little better. However, the fire god law was different. It was a mental cultivation method that allowed him to cultivate his fire soul to a deeper level and use it skillfully. Chen Shang felt that the most powerful part was that a person with a fire soul could cultivate a furnace in his dantian when cultivating this fire god law. It was a furnace in his body that could refine the tyrannical spiritual energy, dissolving the impurities and leaving only the pure parts. As long as he generated this raging inferno dantian in his body, which would produce mysterious flames as he absorbed spiritual energy in the future. The flame would flow to every part of his body and refine spiritual energy immediately once it touched the flame. After spiritual energy was transformed into pure spiritual energy, he could then circulate it in his body with Tai Chi dragon subduing technique to refine it into true Chi and strengthen himself. I heard it can refine anything. Is that true? Would it be even more formidable if I combine it with my devouring demonic technique? Chen Shang gasped for breath. The downside of using the devouring demonic technique laid on the insufficient purity of true Qi refined from it. As time passed, the accumulated impure true Qi would cause problems for his body. However, with this raging inferno dantian, no matter how tyrannical or turbid the true Qi was, once it was smelted, it would become extremely pure. If it really does work like what the fire god law says, then you don't have to worry too much when using the devouring demonic technique. Bai Yu said. Now Chen Shang understood why the middle-aged man from Fire God Shrine he killed proclaimed the power of Fire God Law. He said it was a treasure to those who possessed the fire souls. Now it seemed that even without the devouring demonic technique, it could still be of great use in cultivation. During a martial contest, the most dangerous thing was to have your enemy infill some violent and turbid true Qi into your body to wreak havoc. Once he learned this raging inferno dantian, he could release that of strange flame which could melt all the energy that entered his body. Is there anything else that's amazing about it? Su Meiyao asked curiously. Even though she did not have a fire soul, she knew that there would be plenty of opportunity for her to fuse with fire souls as long as she stayed with Chen Shang, the person who possessed the Fire Soul King. The other thing is that you can use it to temper your body. In other words, you can make flames in raging inferno dantian even stronger through some of the mental cultivation methods in the fire god law. You can also temper your body from the inside, which seems much better than cultivating your body from the outside. Chen Zhang's brows tightly knitted together, but it consumes a lot of true Qi. Because a person who trains in the flame is resistant to fire, he or she need a lot of energy to produce a stronger flame. Your body could bear even flames in the core of the earth, so which kind of flame can temper you? Bai Yu asked. Chen Zhang's body could bear fire not because he was excessively strong, but because he possessed a heaven and earth fire soul. There were pros and cons to this. For instance, flames, in this way, was unable to refine his body. It was the best way to refine a body with flame, and most times the black tortoise body strengthening technique that Chen Shang practiced required fire as stimulus. Of course, thunder was fine as well, but that energy was too tyrannical and one would be easily killed if not controlling it well. No, the body refinement flame of fire god law can ignore the resistance of fire soul, and the heat it produces can make me feel pain. Who on earth created this fire god law? That guy must have been so distressed of having a fire soul that he created the fire god law. Chen Shang was extremely excited at this moment. Doubtlessly, the fire god law could resolve the problems generated as he cultivated too fast. This way, he didn't need to worry about his foundation being unstable when he cultivated it. When he cultivated it together with the fire god law, it was the same as having been tempered 1,000 times, which could be both fast and stable. It's not that difficult. The basics are to train the raging inferno dantian well. Many of the wondrous techniques of using fire souls are based on the raging inferno dantian. Chen Shang started to cultivate. He chanted the mantra so that Su Meiyao and Bai Yu could remember it as well. Even if they didn't cultivate, it would still benefit them greatly to understand and delve deeper into these martial arts. This was the same as reading a book, since they would still be idle anyway. They were certain that once they recovered their peak strength, their cultivation would improve substantially. After comprehending the difficult points of fire god law, Chen Zhang's cultivation was extremely smooth. He had built a solid foundation after cultivating many powerful divine martial arts, so the moment he obtained a martial art, he could comprehend it in a very short period of time. After a day passed, Chen Shang had attempted for many times. Suddenly, the flames that had fused into his body moved. Chen Shang could not tell that strange feeling. He only felt that his dantian was slightly hot, and the Tai Chi Yin-Yang diagram in his dantian suddenly began to spin at high speed. 5 Elements Beast statue was illuminated by a fiery light. The Tai Chi Yin-Yang diagram in his dantian was enveloped by a fireball, while 5-element true Qi continuously came out of the 5 Elements Beast statue and gathered into a wave of heaven and earth force which then fused into a fireball. Chen Shang only felt that his entire body was hot right now. He suddenly opened his eyes and let out an angry bellow as flames spewed out from his body. These flames came from the raging inferno furnace in his dantian and were different from other flames. I can't use true Qi here, but after cultivating the fire god law, I can control my fire soul and absorb the 5 elements heaven and earth force with it, which allows me to release flames. Although it's also the heaven and earth fire, there are some other mysterious powers within it. That should be the strange power of smelting. Chen Shang never thought that he would be able to master the fire god law in one day, and he could also use a powerful flames with it. These flames were all heaven and earth fire that had been ignited by absorbing the heaven and earth force, similar to Chen Zhang's own true Qi, with an only difference that he was unable to use dragon force or other attribute true Qi. Haha, I am invincible in here. Qin Zijun of Holy Light Sect, Wang Quan of Divine Martial Sect, the Hall Master of the Fire God Shrine, and many old fellows from the East Sea are all here. You better not appear in front of me or I won't be polite with you guys. Chen Zhang's heart boiled with excitement. I want to find them. This is a good opportunity. If I don't kill them, they would try to kill me in the future. Chen Zhang's heart skipped a beat as he hastily stood up. Calm down, you will kill him, but you'd better increase your true Qi first. The raging inferno dantian consumes a lot of true Qi, doesn't it? It will be truly troublesome if you get attacked now. Besides, there are many powerful beasts hidden here. Bai Yu said quietly. Chen Shang nodded his head. That's right. Anyway, they will not leave soon. Time inside the top 1 profound realm is different from the time outside. I can also buy some time here. After learning that, he circulated fire god law and ignited the raging inferno dantian, then swallowed a black stone dragon dan that he had obtained earlier. That dan was instantly smelted into pure true Qi after entering the raging inferno dantian, after which it was greedily absorbed by the 5 beast statues and compressed into a true essence pill. Chapter 542, Heaven Mending Stone. Even in such an environment that one could not use true Qi, Chen Shang could still cultivate. Moreover, he could also use powerful flames with fire god law. He killed a total of 30 black stone dragon. Now he got plenty of time, thus he planned to swallow them all to cultivate his true Qi. Within a few breaths, the beast cores of the black stone dragon entered his dantian and were all refined into pure true Qi, then automatically absorbed by the 5 beast statues and compressed into true essence pills. When he entered the early stage of spirit martial realm, a total of 5,000 true essence pills within his 5 elements beast statues lit up, 1,000 for each statue. If he wanted to step into the middle stage of spirit martial realm, he would have to light up another 500 of them, which was an increase of 100 pills per statue. At this stage, it was very difficult for him to condense more true Qi to light up more true essence pills, but now that he had learned the fire god law and obtained a large amount of pure essence golden dan, he had great confidence in his speed of cultivation. Those black stone dragons were all profound beasts, thus their beast cores contained a considerable amount of energy. Even though Chen Shang could only obtain a portion of the energy after devouring these beast cores, the total of 30 pellets accumulated to a substantial amount. This is troublesome. Right now, I can't control my true Qi as I wish. Although it can be smelted into true Qi, it is still very difficult to make the 5 beast statues compress these true Qi. Chen Shang frowned. He initially thought that as long as he could control his true Qi, he could quickly condense it into true essence pills, then increase the density of his true Qi and lit up these pills. Long Shui told him, it's simple. Use your magic power. It's definitely better than when you were controlling true Qi. After you learn how to control true Qi with magic power, you will no longer be constrained by this environment. Chen Shang hurriedly released his magic power into his dantian. After entrance, these magic power transformed into an invisible energy that enveloped true Qi that was unable to enter his dantian. Very quickly, the true Qi was gradually pressed into true essence pills following the control of Chen Zhang's magic power. This was indeed much better than when he was training normally, because true Qi was not easy to compress, especially when it still had to be highly compressed. Time slowly passed, and Chen Shang progressed extremely fast. His Qi spewed out, and his body was emitting a scorching hot true Qi, accompanied by his true Qi which was increasing rapidly. After half a day, Chen Zhang's body started to emit a rumbling sound. As he performed the devouring demonic technique, dense spirit Qi streamed into his body through the spirit gathering array, and once it entered his meridians, the spirit Qi was instantly refined by the fire from the raging inferno dantian. A large amount of spirit Qi was then purified and turned into true Qi, which was then compressed into true essence pill through Chen Zhang's magic power. An unending stream of spirit Qi flowed into his body, just like an endless stream of true Qi. His refining process only lasted for a short moment. Right now, he further realized that the fire god law was a good thing, and he didn't need to go through that long process of refining spirit Qi into true Qi. I'm about to break through. The last one of the 500 true essence pill is going to light up. Chen Shang said excitedly. At this moment, his body was constantly emitting waves of air currents that passed through the array and charged towards the bottom of the lake, causing the lake to surge up and down. He had been cultivating at the bottom of the lake for a month. If it wasn't for the 30 beast cores, his progress wouldn't have been so fast. Done. Chen Zhang's heart skipped a beat. 100 more lit true essence pills were present in each beast statue. What's going on? Chen Shang was shocked because after he stopped cultivating, there was still a lot of energy that entered his body from nowhere and entered his dantian following with spontaneous compression. Very quickly, he exclaimed out loud, just how much power does the martial path bestow upon me? Huang Jintian had told him that those who cultivated the martial path would receive this sort of power every time they made a breakthrough. However, it wasn't obvious if a cultivator was below extreme martial realm, while it would be extremely obvious after he or she entered extreme realm. When he entered the spiritual martial force, he received almost 10 times the power as his own. Sister Mei Yao, did you obtain the same power when you cultivated back then? Chen Shang asked. Yes, enjoy it slowly. Right now, no one can understand why there is such a power. Su Meiyao giggled and said, I got an 8-time improvement when I entered spiritual martial realm, sister got a bit more than me. When you entered the spiritual martial realm, you only got 500 pills. After receiving the power of bestowal, you got 5,000 pills, increasing by 9 times. This is the basic standard for what you can get from bestowal in the future. You will definitely not get less than the standard. Bai Yu said. Chen Shang sucked in a breath of cold air. He felt that the standard of bestowal had something to do with personal aptitude. However, he felt that he was more talented and qualified than those two beauties. Last time when he entered the spiritual martial realm, it took him more than 20 days to compress the power of bestowal. But now, it only took him 15 days. It was still 9 times, which rendered another 4,500 true essence pill for him. Thus there was a total of 10,000 true essence pills lit up in his 5 elementals beast statue, and even he himself was shocked by how dense the true Qi was. 9 times is quite high. Many people get no more than 5 times. Therefore, sometimes you can't judge a person's strength by his cultivation, but you should also concern the thickness of his true Qi. Su Meiyao said. Right now, his true Qi had been much thicker, which allowed him to use dragon force for a longer time. Moreover, as his true Qi became stronger, his dragon power would also become more terrifying. He drilled out of the formation, turned into a fish, and rapidly swam towards the surface of the lake. Due to the fire god law, he was able to commit attack with heaven and earth fire. His heaven and earth fire came out of the heaven and earth force, and was even stronger. Chen Shang came to a mountaintop, waiting for Long Shui finding praise with her god traveling in 9 heavens technique. He starred at his fist. Just with a thought, he activated the fire god law, after which raging flames immediately blazed in his dantian, and a strong flame gushed out from his fist. The burning heat enveloped the entire mountain. Look likes there is a group of people over there, but there seems to be something there as well. My consciousness becomes very unstable as it gets close there. Long Shui claimed curiously. What direction? Chen Shang asked without hesitation. They were probably those Nirvana realm folks. He wasn't afraid of them at all. Over there, Long Shui pointed out a direction. Chen Shang immediately jumped down from the top of the mountain and started running towards that direction. Not long later, Chen Shang heard a faint sound coming from far ahead. Lu Menger, hand over the heaven-mending stone, or you will never leave alive. Hearing these words, Chen Zhang's heart skipped a beat. Raging flames of anger instantly rose in his heart. Lu Menger was sieged and attacked. He never thought that Lu Menger, who was preparing for her tribulation, would come to the top one profound realm. Chapter 543, Carnage. Chen Shang turned into a small bird and quickly flew over. Lu Menger was surrounded and attacked, which was extremely dangerous. She could not use her true qi or frost wind divine technique, which greatly compromised her strength and made Chen Shang worried a lot. Heaven Mending Stone. That is a good item for refining spatial-type magical equipment. It can refine immortal artifacts and is extremely rare, even in the heavenly realm. Su Meiyao suddenly said. Wherever there is a heaven-mending stone, there will be a Sumeru stone. No wonder it affects my consciousness. At this time, Long Shuiyi was also worried. Chen Shang, what are you planning to do? What should we do? All the guys who attacked Menger must die. Chen Shang furiously said. How many are they? About 30. Chen Shang had some knowledge about the Sumeru stone and heaven mending stone. Heaven mending stone was a magical stone that could fill up the cracks in space. According to the legends, once there was a crack between heavenly realm and mortal realm, the heaven mending stone must be used to fill it up. Whereas Sumeru stone was a necessary ore to refine storage treasures. There was a small space inside each Sumeru stone. Items such as storage bags and storage rings were all refined from it. Sumeru stone was very rare, but there were still many people who had found them in the mortal world. When refining a storage bag, one only needed one Sumeru stone to create a room. The larger the volume of a storage equipment, the more Sumeru stones it required, and the harder it was to concoct. It seems like there is a Sumeru stone vein here. Bai Yu said. Lu Menger held a white jade dragon bone spear in her hands. Her face was as cold as ice, and her white clothes fluttered in the wind. Anger filled up her beautiful eyes as she stared at the experts surrounding her. All of them were male. HMPH, you bunch of men are so shameless to deal with a woman like me. Lu Menger shouted coldly. She could not use true qi but the strength of her flesh body, thus she could not win over them. However, she was not willing to hand over the heaven-mending stone, or gave up the Sumeru stone vein she discovered. Those who see it will get a share, even though it is used to say that the one who find it get it all. As an old man delivered his speech, a red light suddenly flashed over, following by a wave of overwhelming hot air suddenly enveloping the area, then a thick killing intent like countless vicious beasts swept over like a wave, causing everyone to shiver. Bullshit. Following Chen Zhang's angry roar, the old man who had just spoken was instantly chopped into pieces by Chen Zhang's blade aura replete in the sky. Chen Shang stood in front of Lu Menger and saw a few familiar faces. They were the Hall Master of Fire God Shrine, Wang Quan of Divine Martial Sect, Qin Zhejian of Holy Light Sect, and Xiao Ziliang of the Free Immortal Sea. These guys are all hoodlums. No wonder they're shameless. Chen Zhang's voice was filled with killing intent as he held onto his divine saber to protect Lu Menger. Chen Zhang's arrival with his majestic aura intimated the surrounding people to involuntarily take a few steps back. They could all tell that Chen Shang just used his true qi, and his strength seemed to have increased by a lot, since he could kill a Nirvana realm martial artist in an instant. Since they weren't able to use their true qi, all of these experts were unable to withstand Chen Zhang's berserk strength. Seeing Chen Shang arrive, Lu Menger breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at Chen Shang with tender affection, wishing that she could hug him. A middle-aged man angrily shouted at Chen Shang, "Chen Shang, how dare you kill an elder of our Flying Dragon sect?" The middle-aged man was punctuated away by Chen Zhang's punch. A fire dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it roared. It carried a threatening aura as it charged towards the middle-aged man like a bolt of lightning. Pa! A loud explosion rang out. In the blink of an eye, the fire dragon pierced through the middle-aged man's body and exploded fiercely, turning him into charred flesh that scattered in all directions and landed on everyone's bodies. The crowd trembled again because another Nirvana realm warrior just died tragically in front of them. Fire God Law. A middle-aged man with an extraordinary bearing and a cold expression shouted in anger, "Chen Shang, where did you learn this from?" It was Ying Jingkun, the Hall Master of the Fire God Shrine, a person who had passed the 8th Nirvana tribulation. Chen Shang, who was filled with killing intent, did not say a word. He just chopped down his blade in the air. The blade flashed with a fiery light and threatening heat. It was as if the blazing sun was bursting with light. Blade wind condensed from scorching flames charged toward Ying Jingkun like a torpedo with fire. Ying Jingkun was prepared. He quickly dodged as he saw Chen Shang brandishing his blade. However, the two old men behind him were not as fast as him. They were hit by the hot blade wind from Chen Zhang's chop and instantly turned into ashes. Although everyone was enveloped by a scorching heat, they couldn't help but feel cold shiver. Unlike Chen Shang, they couldn't use true qi, so they could only use their bodies to fight against him, which seemed to be a mission impossible since Chen Shang could kill them all. Everyone quickly realized that they had no way to fight back Chen Shang. They must run, otherwise they would definitely be killed by him. This group of high and mighty Nirvana realm warriors were all terrified. Their hearts were filled with intense fear. They only had one thought, and that was to run for their lives. Otherwise, Chen Shang would take their lives. After watching Chen Zhang's brutal methods, the crowd was convinced that as long as they were caught by Chen Shang, they would die without a doubt. Don't try to escape. You'll all have to die. After Chen Shang let out a furious roar, a scorching wave of air with formidable killing intent exploded out from his body and spread in all directions. It was like a tidal wave, sweeping away everything in its path in an extremely fast speed. In just an instant, many trees were burned to ashes, and the people running in all directions all suddenly stopped, because their bodies were entangled by fire. This made the over 20 experts feel despair. They could tell from Chen Zhang's incomparable killing intent that he wouldn't let them go. Chen Shang, the Great War of Three Realms war is about to start. If you kill us, the strength of the mortal martial realm will be compromised, which might result in its falling. Xiao Ziliang hurriedly said. You scum, you will only mess up the entire thing. Chen Shang wielded his Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer and suddenly arrived in front of Xiao Ziliang. Lu Menger, you are the person in charge of a faction. You must consider the overall situation. It is indeed our fault to attack you, and we will bring a huge gift to apologize and compensate you. Please say a word to Chen Shang. Qin Zejin spoke in a hurry. He was extremely terrified. He had almost taken control of the East Sea, and had survived the 8th Nirvana tribulations, just one step away from ascending to the heavenly realm, thus he was definitely not willing to die here. Lu Menger looked at Chen Shang and sighed, he will not listen to me. You're his wife's master and his elder. How come he doesn't listen to you? Qin Zejin was raging. Death used to be something unreachable to these people. Perhaps this fear existed when they were young, but now that they stood on the peak of strength, they could control the lives and deaths of billions of people. As time passed, they forgot about this feeling. But now, Chen Shang let them recall this incomparable fear. Chen Shang, if you let me go, I will ignore the matter of you learning the Fire God Law. Our Fire God Shrine will also apologize to Lu Menger. Please consider the big picture. Ying Jingkun's tone became softer. The stronger one was, the more afraid he would be of death, because it was extremely difficult for him to reach a high position. Cut the crap. I have decided to slaughter you bastards a month ago. Chen Shang raised his blade and chopped off Xiao Ziliang's head. He didn't even blink when he made his move. Chapter 544, Fall of the Strong. Xiao Ziliang had previously cooperated with Holy Light Sect and almost killed Chen Shang. He had always remembered this grudge, and he also knew that Xiao Ziliang hated him. Don't you remember we have a grudge? Chen Shang had a sneer on his face as he walked towards Ying Jingkun, the Hall Master of Fire God Shrine. The fire vine he released was now even stronger than before. He definitely couldn't let anyone of the crowd escape. Every time he killed a person, Chen Zhang's heat of slaughter would completely absorb that person's killing intent, causing his to become even stronger. Right now, his killing intent was the sum of that of several Nirvana realm experts, and it was extremely intense. Anyone without sufficient strength could not even stand stably in front of him. Chen Shang, aren't you afraid that the Fire God Shrine in the heavenly realm will know it? Don't think that no one will know what you're doing here. Ying Jingkun frowned as sweat dropped from his face. His body trembled even more when he saw Chen Shang walk over. Although he was tangled by torching fire vines, he still felt as if he was inside an ice cave. Chen Shang laughed heartily, I was not afraid of you when I killed the elder of your Fire God Shrine. From the time you come down to the mortal martial world, I have made up my mind to eliminate you guys. Now take it. His blade flashed like lightning and hacked down on Ying Jingkun's head. Seeing the haunted man's head falling off, the other Nirvana realm warriors became even more desperate and terrified. Among this group of people, Ying Jingkun was the strongest and the most powerful. They dared to siege Lu Menger also due to his presence. Death of Ying Jingkun of Fire God Shrine indicated that Chen Shang would not leave any survivors. Once the matter was exposed, no matter what they said, they would ultimately be killed by Chen Shang. Let me take some job for you. Lu Menger's face was expressionless as she walked towards an old man. After she stabbed out her jade dragon's kiss stabbed fiercely a few times in an instant into the old man's body, several bloody holes appeared on his throat. Lu Menger, the Empress of the Divine Weapon Heavenly Kingdom, aside from showing the coyness and tenderness of a woman in front of Chen Shang, expressed an imposing aura of a ruler in front of everyone else. Her actions show no mercy, and when faced with the pleas and pleas from many people, she completely ignored them and decisively took out her spear, stabbing them to death one by one. Chen Shang did not kill Qin Zhejian and Wang Quan first, but killed the rest of them. He wanted Wang Quan and Qin Zhejian to experience the incomparable fear of death, which was even worse than death. Very quickly, the ground was filled with heads and corpses. The killing intent accumulated on Chen Zhang's body grew more and more intense, which made even Lu Menger extremely uncomfortable. Now there were only Qin Zhejian and Wang Quan left. When they saw the godlike Chen Shang walking towards them, they were immediately frightened to the point that their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled. I've already said this before. Don't bully a poor youth. When you wanted to kill me back then, did you ever expect about this moment? Chen Shang looked at Wang Quan. Wang Quan never thought that after he lost to Huang Jintian, he would be killed by Huang Jintian's disciple. What made him even more frustrated was that he, a Nirvana realm warrior, would die at the hands of a kid who only had the strength of the extreme realm. This was also the mood of many experts. In the instant before they died, they all regretted to enter this top one profound realm. Not only had they not found anything, they had even lost their lives here. A black wave of killing intent gushed out from Chen Zhang's body and rushed into the sky like a pillar. As he slashed down his slayer which was replete of killing intent, Wang Quan and Qin Zhejian were beheaded simultaneously and died reluctantly. Phew, Chen Shang closed his eyes and released his magic power to suppressing the unrestrained killing intent within his body. Lu Menger walked over and hugged Chen Shang from behind. She pressed her cheek against Chen Zhang's back and softly said, "Thank you, you little rascal." Chen Shang lightly held her hand and faintly smiled, "You do not need to be polite with me. Hurry and clean up. Seal all these corpses with forbidden seals. Don't let any energy leak out. The corpses will be useful for me in the future." After Chen Shang claimed that the corpses were useful, Lu Menger frowned and asked, "What's the use?" "For practice, of course." Haha, Chen Shang smiled evilly as he recalled the last time he practiced with Lu Menger. HMPH. Lu Menger let out a soft snort and took out some materials for placing forbidden seals on the ground. She could not use true qi right now, so she could only rely on these materials. 32 corpses were in the Nirvana realm. 3 of them were previously from Fire God Shrine and possessed fire souls. After burning this place down, Chen Shang held Lu Menger's hand and brought the beauty with him to a nearby mountain forest, then arrived at a quiet valley. "Sister Menger, why are you here? Aren't you in seclusion with Hua Shangyu in the forbidden site of Danxiang Taoyuan?" Chen Shang carried Lu Menger in his arms and sat on a large tree. "When I came out to get some fresh air, I heard the news about the top one profound realm. I knew that you would definitely come. I was worried about you, so I came here for you." Lu Menger pinched Chen Zhang's perverted hand. "You do have the gut to come here and slaughter all those fellows." "Heh, why wouldn't I?" Chen Shang kissed her head. "They are so shameless to surround my sister Menger. That's the compensation. Haha, although it's a bit cruel, I like it." Lu Menger lay in Chen Zhang's arms, looking up at his handsome face. "How did you get the heaven-mending stone? Quick, let me see. I've never seen something like that before." Lu Menger took out a huge colorful stone which was as tall as a person. Every inch of it was multicolored. Under the sunlight, it was extremely beautiful. No wonder those people sieged her shamelessly. The heaven-mending stone is too big. Those that are found in the heavenly realm are only as big as a person's head. Your Luotian gate contains these stones, and that's why it can open a spatial gate. Su Meiyao sucked in a breath of cold air. Chen Shang stroked the heaven-mending stone and widened his eyes. "Sister Menger, how did you manage to get this?" "After I came in, I looked for you everywhere. Then I mistakenly entered a dangerous place. After I killed the demon beasts there and entered a mountain range, I immediately sensed a Sumeru stone mine, which is the site where you killed those people. There are a lot of Sumeru stones there, about the size of a small mountain. I merely sensed it with my divine sense, then the heaven-mending stone just came out, raised up to the sky and bursted colorful lights. I used a lot of power to collect it, but it attracted those guys. They signed me, and you already know what happened after that. Lu Menger helplessly said and then put away the heaven-mending stone. Chen Shang rubbed his chin and said, "So, let's go back and get the Sumeru stone. That's a good item. Let's go. When I have the time, I will refine a pretty spacious storage ring for you." Lu Menger intimately hugged Chen Zhang's arm and walked out of the valley with him. Chapter 545, Transformative Demonic Bees. Chen Shang and Lu Menger returned to the place where the experts were killed. Below there is a Sumeru stone as big as a small hill. "Dig it out." Lu Menger gently jumped onto a tree and sat down. Chen Shang shrugged his shoulders as he furiously blasted towards the ground. Soon, he saw a corner of the Sumeru stone. It seemed to be an extremely dark rock, and the entire thing was even a whole piece. At first, he thought to find some small fragments, but in fact it was a complete piece, so he could easily take it out. He placed one hand on the Sumeru stone and instantly put it into his storage ring before throwing it to Lu Menger. "Hurry up and get out of here. If others find out that you killed those guys, we'll be in trouble," Lu Menger said as she accepted the storage ring, then giggled and flew to Chen Zhang's side. Chen Shang kissed Lu Menger's face. "Let's leave this place. I'll give you something along the way." "What is it?" While Lu Menger was speaking, Chen Shang had already wrapped his arms around her waist and they quickly flew through the forest. It did not take long for them to get far away from the place where the experts were killed. After arriving at the foot of a small mountain, Chen Shang put Lu Menger down and smiled. "The fire god law is very suitable for those with fire souls to cultivate. You should learn it, Menger." "So it is. The fire god shrine used to solicit me with this fire god law, but I rejected." "How did you get it?" Lu Menger's beautiful eyes shone with a bright light. Before she could receive Chen Zhang's reply, her small mouth was blocked by Chen Shang. Her jade teeth were pried open by Chen Zhang's tongue. They hadn't kissed for a long time, so she actively responded to him. The two kissed with their tongues entangled. While kissing, Chen Shang extended a perverted hand into Lu Menger's clothes, gently massaging her delicate and round, jade peaks. This caused Lu Menger to gasp for breath, and her eyes became misty. The two passionately embraced each other, then hugged. While Lu Menger tidied up her clothes with one hand, she humphed with a blush on her face, "You little rascal, you are getting more and more dishonest. It hurts to squeeze." "Sorry, allow me to help." Chen Shang smiled mischievously. He was about to extend his hand over when Lu Menger slapped him away. "Enough." Lu Menger rolled her eyes at him. "Then how exactly did you get the fire god law?" "I forced. I want to teach you the fire god law and another powerful martial art." Chen Shang stroked Lu Menger's cheek as he laughed. Bai Yu once promised to have Chen Shang teach the Ice Soul Devil Dominance to Lu Menger as an appreciation of her for Frostwind Divine Technique. When Chen Shang was cultivating the fire god law, he asked Su Meiyao and Bai Yu to make a copy. Now, he took out a few thick books. "That's too much," Lu Menger couldn't help but ask in surprise as she stared at the 6 thick books. After she opened the first book and saw the contents, she frowned slightly. What a delicate character. It doesn't look like a man's handwriting at all. Chen Shang coughed a few times but didn't say anything. Yes, this was Su Meiyao's calligraphy. Last time when she was at the White Tiger Profound Realm, Lu Menger learned Tai Chi Divine Technique from Su Meiyao. Since that she knew that Chen Shang had a mysterious and very powerful woman by his side. Also the Demon Subduing Force. "I learned it from Demon Subduing Academy. It's very powerful, especially if you cultivate to the 10th level." As Chen Shang spoke, he threw a punch at a large tree in the distance. Pa 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 pa. After 10 consecutive explosions, the demon subduing force flew out and hit the tree, turning the trunk into dust. Lu Menger exclaimed, "That's so powerful. You didn't use true chi on it, did you?" "No, but it's hard to learn up to the 10th level. There are only 2 men within the academy who have done it, the principal and me. I heard that you killed a principal of the Demon Subduing Academy and are currently being pursued by people from the heavenly realm. Is that true?" Lu Menger asked worriedly. Chen Shang briefed the process to Lu Menger. "I've already slaughtered that guy from the heavenly realm right here. That's fine, since no one knows I'm here except you. Besides, the Hall Master of Fire God Shrine and some other powerful sects have all died here. No one won't find it strange." Chen Shang stroked Lu Menger's long hair as he lightly smiled. Lu Menger let out a snort. Once the things that Chen Shang did were revealed, he would completely offend two of the strongest powers in the heavenly realm. Fortunately, Chen Shang did it in secret. Let's go. There are still a few months until the entrance closes. We can walk out slowly. I still have a powerful martial art to teach you along the way. Chen Shang stretched lazily as he held onto Lu Menger's hand and walked towards a direction. Well, how can I learn so much? Even though Lu Menger said this, her face was still filled with joy. She coyly stuck out her tongue, making Chen Shang could not help but to bite it. They walked slowly like normal times. Ice Soul Devil Dominance was not elaborate in content, but it was pretty abstruse, even Lu Menger had a hard time understanding it. Chen Shang understood it fast only because Bai Yu taught him via divine sense, so that he inherited both the knowledge and comprehension. At this time, he had to spend a lot of time explaining the Ice Soul Devil Dominance to Lu Menger. You used it to defeat Yulin last time. No wonder Yulin was unable to defend against it. That white tiger also lost to you like this, right? After Lu Menger learned it from Chen Shang for a couple of days, she was thoroughly stunned by this formidable devil art. You can learn it when you get back. By the way, you don't mind teaching Fire God La to Shangyu, do you? Chen Shang asked quietly. How could I? She's already your maid. Last time I went to find her at Danxiang Taoyuan, this little demoness always call me, ma'am. I really can't stand her. Lu Menger protested coquettishly. It seems that this little demoness is really willing to be your maid. When I get back, I will go find her and learn the Fire God La together with her. Knowing that Hua Shangyu was so obedient, Chen Shang smiled mischievously. Chen Shang and Lu Menger were both very cautious as they walked through the forest, because they couldn't let others know that Chen Shang was there. Along the way, Chen Shang also told Lu Menger about the difficult points of demon subduing force, which would be helpful for her to cultivate it later. Lu Menger never expected that she would need Chen Shang the rascal to teach her martial arts. What is that sound? Chen Shang suddenly stopped and looked at the huge mountain that rose up from the ground in the forest in front of him. It's the aura of a demon beast called Transformative Demonic Beast. Lu Menger was surprised. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew over and a black shadow flew over. Chen Zhang's reaction was extremely fast. He leapt out, then his fist that was spewing flames like a meteorite charged forward, dragging a red shadow behind it as it struck the black shadow that was flying towards him. With a muffled bang, Chen Zhang's fist hit the black shadow and produced flames. The black shadow was wrapped in flames and flew out, then crashed a few large trees. Chapter 546. Sacred Dan Realm. Chen Shang didn't immediately give chase, but stood beside Lu Menger. The black shadow earlier wasn't charging towards him, but towards Lu Menger. Therefore, he wanted to protect Lu Menger here. After the ball of fire was extinguished, Chen Shang and Lu Menger saw a middle-aged man with wings on his back. He wore clothes made of animal skin and had an extremely ordinary appearance. He really is a beast in human form, but he can't use true qi. How in the world did he get past the Nirvana Doom? Chen Shang said, puzzled. His body is very strong. Your punch just now was not weak, but now he is completely fine. Lu Menger frowned and said. Chen Shang also realized that if his punch were to land on the bodies of other Nirvana stage, it would be enough to make them vomit blood, causing flames to seep into their bodies and burn their internal organs. Bird person, why did you attack us? Chen Shang asked loudly. The middle-aged man with wings clearly did not like this form of address. He immediately let out an angry roar like a falcon and his body became like an arrow. Once again, Chen Shangfei pounced over. Although his speed was very fast, it was very slow in Chen Zhang's eyes. Although it was just a sound, it was extremely powerful. Furthermore, Chen Shang did not only send out a punch this time, he had also sent out dozens of instantaneous punches, which were all produced by the Berserk Devil Subduing method. The fist shadows that covered the sky were like raging waves, and like a torrential storm, they submerged the Birdman. In just a few seconds, the monster's body felt as if it had been struck by lightning a few hundred times. The scorching pain was like dripping chili onto a wound, causing it to cry out in pain. The devil subduing method that Chen Shang used had a scorching heat to it. All the feathers on the wings of the materialized demon beast were burnt to ashes, the entire person was charred black. Beasts that could change their form had to pass through the Nirvana Doom, and if there were Nirvana Doom in the first profound realm, then that meant that the first profound realm had already evolved into a small world. With his last punch, Chen Shang used the power of Devil Subduing Method level 10, sending the beast in human form flying into the mountain wall not too far away with a splash of broken stones. His hands were like dragon claws as he fiercely stabbed into the belly of the beast. He took out a golden beast core, and dense life essence and energy gushed out. This was a nirvana beast core. After Shen Shang escaped, the beast immediately died. The devil subduing method is indeed powerful. Lu Meng'er lightly flew over. Seeing her man become so powerful, Lu Meng'er was very happy. Shen Zhang's rapid progress made her feel gratified. Shen Shang took the beast core and swallowed it directly. This scared Lu Meng'er to the point that her face turned pale. This was a beast core that contained a very strong energy. She was worried that Shen Shang wouldn't be able to take it if Shen Shang swallowed it like that. Don't worry, the energy in that beast core can't improve my Gen Qi. It can strengthen my body and strengthen my soul. Shen Shang waved his hand and said. Boundless and bizarre energy rushed into Shen Zhang's limbs and bones, merging into his meridians, bones, muscles, and blood, strengthening his internal organs, merging into every part of his body, and strengthening his body. After his physical body became stronger, his soul also became stronger. However, he needed a certain amount of time to digest that energy. There's a cave on top of it. I've checked, there seems to be a box inside. This made Shen Shang immediately raise his head to look at the mountainside. Let's go up and take a look. Shen Shang pulled Lu Meng'er and jumped fiercely into the cave halfway up the mountain. This cave was very dark. Shen Shang took out a torch and lit it up. Lu Meng'er asked, how did you know there was a cave here? Shen Shang said with a smile, I just know. Let's go in and take a look. Maybe there's something good there. This mountain was very big, and it was located in the middle of the first profound realm. When they reached the end, Shen Shang and Lu Meng'er saw a box placed on top of a stone table. It was a pitch-black wooden box, but it looked like it was weathered. It seems like this box has been fought over by many people before. Lu Meng'er said as she opened the black box. There was only one animal skin inside. Unfolding the beast skin, Shen Shang held a torch and lit it up. He only saw a circular object on the beast skin with many patterns on it. With a single glance, he could tell that this was a spell. Lu Meng'er was obsessed with arrays. When she saw the arrays, her face was filled with joy. She excitedly said, this is a transmission array, a cross-border transmission array. Transboundary teleportation formations could allow one to travel to other worlds. It was no wonder that Lu Meng'er was so excited. Traveling to other worlds had always been something that she longed for. It was just that she couldn't find a good way. Now that Shen Shang knew why so many people stole the box, he guessed that Li Tianjin left it there. Sacred Dan Realm, the sacred ground of the legendary alchemist. Lu Meng'er looked at the beast skin on its back. There were many small densely written words on it. With one look, Shen Shang could tell that it was something that needed to be adjusted to move around when the teleportation formation was being set up. This is to be sent to the sacred Dan Realm. Lu Meng'er said in surprise, when I was very young, my parents told me about this sacred Dan Realm. I heard that it was as powerful as the Heaven Realm, and even many immortals from the Heaven Realm go there to request for pills. Shen Shang had also heard Su Meiyao say it before, if there's a chance, you must go and take a look. He brought the beast skin over and memorized the position of the sacred Dan Realm. He realized that the Al Heaven Gate could also be used to adjust its position and teleport to the sacred Dan Realm. Although the spirit energy in the first profound realm was dense, there was a certain power that restricted people from using their true qi. Shen Shang himself did not know how Li Tianjin could have stayed here for so long. The time inside was different from the time outside. They rarely met, and naturally have to spend some time together. On the way, Shen Shang also gained a lot of benefits and spent all day together with Lu Meng'er. Very quickly, Shen Shang and Lu Meng'er walked out of the first profound realm. It was still dark outside, and after walking over, Shen Shang quickly took out the Al Heaven Gate and opened a dimensional door, leaving the Sun Moon Island behind. Elder Sister Meng'er, I'm going back to the Demon Subduing Academy. Are you going to check up on the deities in Lengyu Lan? Shen Shang said as soon as he finished kissing Lu Meng'er. Lu Meng'er tidied up the white clothes that were messed up by Shen Shang, and said while frowning, if you really want to go back, then be careful, the devil-suppressing Divine Palace will definitely send more people down, and the Fire Divine Palace's Palace Mistress will also take over, but there might be chaos in the Sacred Light religious sect. Alright, once I've settled my matters, I'll go find Dan Fragrance Pure Land to look for you. Shen Shang kissed Lu Meng'er's cherry lips, then stepped into the space gate and left. Chapter 547, Returning to the Magic Academy. The big eclipse lasted for a month. The land that was enveloped in darkness for a month was once again illuminated by the sun's rays. Many people were no longer surprised, but many forces were no longer calm. Not a single one of the elders and hall masters who went to the first profound realm were able to return, and this was also true for Divine Martial Palace's hall master, Wang Quan, and the two elders. At this time, many of the big shots of the various forces were discussing about this matter. Some of them were taking joy in Qin Zhejian's misfortune, while some were worrying deeply, especially those forces of the Eastern Ocean. Roughly 80 people went in, but only 40 of them could come out. Chen Shang had killed more than 30 of them, and there were a few that could not come out due to other reasons. In order to stabilize the situation, those powers who had lost their leader hurriedly picked out a suitable person, and Fire Divine Palace and the Demon Subduing Academy all contacted the upper echelons of Heaven Realm. Fire Divine Palace, losing a powerful hall master and a few elders, was the strongest power of the Fire Divine Palace. If not for these people acting as deterrents in the Fire Divine Palace, the Fire Divine Palace would have been annihilated easily. After Zhuo Zhenzan reported this to the Heaven Realm, he also began to investigate. He wanted to ask about the people who entered the first profound realm that day, because he felt that this matter was very strange. The first profound realm was already closed. If they wanted to enter again, they would have to wait until the next big eclipse, so no one could enter to investigate. When Lu Meng'er went in, it was a bit late, so no one knew that she had gone in, and Chen Shang was also the first person in there, so his whereabouts were extremely secretive, and even more so, no one knew. After Lu Meng'er returned, he did not immediately start closed-door training, but asked about the situation. Previously, Chen Shang had given Lu Meng'er a few ingredients to refine the life recovery pill, but Lu Meng'er had always given them to him to refine. Furthermore, the place Hua Shangyu was at was very suitable for cultivation, so she stayed inside. Arriving in the mountain forest outside of the Anti-Demon Academy, Chen Shang stayed there for about 10 days before suddenly slapping his head. Damn it, I forgot to give the box containing the heaven-grade pills to elder sister Meng'er. Su Meiyao had gotten the box from Zheng Chu. Based on the faint aura left on the box, Su Meiyao could tell that it was a heaven-rank pill, but he did not know what kind of heaven-rank pill it was. There's plenty of opportunities. Even if it's a heaven-grade pill, you can't casually use it right now. Otherwise, your body will explode from the torment of that energy. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang took out the Luotian gate and opened a dimensional door, appearing inside the bathrooms inside Shui Shenxian's and Leng Yulin's house. However, there was no one inside the bathtub, causing Chen Shang to be rather disappointed. Little scoundrel, you were sent here on purpose. Last time, Chen Shang suddenly appeared here, causing him to have a feast in his eyes. Leng Yulin's perfect body of a white-haired beauty was still stuck in his mind. Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin were not here, but it was already evening, so it was generally their time to return. Chen Shang sat in the courtyard, waiting for the two girls to return. He did not wait long, before feeling a threatening aura approaching him, causing his expression to change greatly, but he quickly calmed down, because the aura was from Zhuo Zhenshuan. Chen Shang, you are so brave. You actually dared to come back. Zhuo Zhenzan said while smiling. At this time, Zhuo Zhenzan was already the dean, and he had returned to his former manner, unlike what Chen Shang had seen in the dungeon. That was why Zhuo Zhenshuan was very grateful to Chen Shang. Otherwise, he would still be in the underground prison, where the sun did not rise. Hehe, Principal Zhuo, I would like to borrow that stellar transposition realm. Chen Shang laughed. Of course it's convenient, I've already arranged for your two little lovers to go in, but they only go in for 5 days each time, which is equivalent to 5 years. This is the 4th time they have gone in, you know, they can only go in for 20 days at most, and then there will be no effect. Zhuo Zhenzan said. 20 days, 20 years. Chen Shang felt that it was enough for him to learn how to refine many pills, and in addition, he could take this opportunity to create divine liquid, as well as create a large amount of precious medicinal herbs. By then, he would probably be the richest person in the entire mortal world. Chen Shang said, I need to go in for 20 days, you should know that I am an alchemist, these few days I have been increasing my strength, now I need to use this time to learn pill refining. Zhuo Zhenzan nodded and said, no problem, but you will definitely feel bored after staying in there for 20 years. Oh right, what kind of background does that Zheng Chu guy have? He can come down from the heaven realm, and he seems to be very strong, do you still want him to kill me? Chen Shang asked in a low voice. Zhuo Zhenzan frowned and sighed. Don't worry, he won't pursue you anymore, because he hasn't come out from that first profound realm yet, and it's still unknown whether he's dead or alive. I have already reported to the Heaven Realm. They plan to send the next group of people to investigate this. Chen Shang pretended to be shocked. It looks like my luck isn't bad. Zuo Zhenzan sighed. Zheng Chu has quite a high position in devil-suppressing divine palace. He was treated as a person to be groomed, and within 500 years, he passed through the nirvana tribulation, which is a rare occurrence in this world. Now that he has gone missing, devil-suppressing divine palace will send some people to investigate and find him. From this point alone can be seen. Chen Shang now understood why Zheng Chu's storage ring had over 10,000 top-quality spiritual crystal and even heaven-level pills. It turned out that his status was so high. It seems that devil-suppressing divine palace will send even more vicious people this time. I should finish borrowing the Dohuolong stellar transposition as soon as possible. Chen Shang said. He had originally planned to wait a few days for Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan to gather, but now he had to hurry up. Zuo Zhenzan said in a low voice, change your appearance and I'll bring you there again. It might take around a month for someone from the devil-suppressing divine palace to come down. Chen Shang immediately took out his tools and made it so that no one would be able to tell that he was Chen Shang. Zuo Zhenshuan nodded in satisfaction. Principal Zuo, I heard that it was extremely difficult to get devil-suppressing divine palace to bring him down from heaven realm, asked. Not only the devil-suppressing divine palace, the fire divine palace could also bring him down. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu had told him before that this was extremely difficult. Using a transmission array, the current array formation is becoming more and more powerful, and can even break through the barrier of the heavenly mortal realm. However, it can only send those under the 9 tribulations down, and once they do, it will be difficult to go up. When they do, they will have to cross the 9 tribulations and fly up, so when they come down, they all have their things with them. Zuo Zhenzan's words made Chen Zhang's eyes light up. If he was to specifically kill this kind of rich and powerful half-immortal from the heaven realm, then he would earn big, but he would only be able to beat this kind of guy in environments where he couldn't use his innate chi. Chapter 548. Stellar Transposition Realm. Chen Shang followed Zuo Zhenshuan to the top of a tall building in the middle of the Demon Subduing Academy. This building was located in the middle of the other 5 high grounds, and one could tell that it was a formation to create a formation. In a huge stone room on the roof of the building, Zuo Zhenshuan was resting his hand on a giant pillar. He released waves of power from his body and poured it into the stone pillar. The stone pillar started to slowly rotate, emitting a white glow. Zuo Zhenzan said, this is the entrance to the stellar transposition realm. After you enter, you will appear in a room, and everyone that enters will have a separate room. This is to avoid disturbing others. Chen Shang said, what if I want to come out? You can only stay inside for a maximum of 20 days, at that time I will release you. If you want to come out early, you can use the crystal ball inside it to send a message through your spiritual sense, and I will be able to receive it. Zuo Zhenzan said. Chen Shang walked through the stone pillar's door and stood inside a small room that was surrounded by white clouds and slowly closed the door. At this time, he felt that he was inside a small room that was quickly starting to spin, but not long later, the white light around him suddenly disappeared and he appeared in a stone room that was filled with warm yellow light. The stone room was quite large and had a clean bed, chairs, and a bathing pool filled with hot water. What a pity! If only the deities and orchids were here as well. Chen Shang took off his clothes and jumped into the bath, soaking in the hot water. If you want to stay here for 20 years, I have already arranged a cultivation plan for you. Every day, you have to cultivate using the fire god method, and at the same time, you also need to condense God's liquid. Of course, most of your time is spent on refining pills. Su Meiyao suddenly flashed out and sat beside Chen Shang. She lifted up the pants on her body and placed a pair of exquisite jade feet into the bath, causing Chen Shang to be unable to resist grabbing onto her tender jade feet and gently pinching them. HMPH. Little scoundrel, you're truly too daring. Bai Yuyu scolded and pinched Chen Zhang's ears. At this time, Bai Yuyu also came out from the ring, sat at Chen Zhang's other side and also soaked his beautiful jade sculpture-like feet in the bath. But now, Chen Shang was completely immersed in it. With these two beauties by his side, it made him involuntarily indulge in his imagination, wishing that he could strip them off and have them help rub his back. Chen Zhang's current guts were indeed very big. He was originally touching Su Meiyao's jade feet, but now, slowly moving his hand from her calves up Su Meiyao's big white legs. However, it was still ruthlessly slapped away by Su Meiyao. "Little scoundrel, I'm not your elder sister Munger. Don't do anything bad to me." Su Meiyao scoffed. "Since I've already kissed her and seen her, it's fine if I touch her," Chen Shang said as she curled her lips, causing a touch of scarlet to surface on her charming face as she gently spat out. At this time, Chen Shang looked at Bai Yuyu, who was dressed in a pure white dress. Although she was a devil, she looked like a holy goddess at this moment, causing Chen Shang to stare foolishly at her. Bai Yuyu only wore her unique cold smile, undodging the fiery gaze of Chen Shang. Looking at it, Chen Zhang's hand also seemed to be controlled by some kind of power as she fearlessly reached out and grabbed that ice-cold tender jade foot of hers from the water. This made Bai Yuyu slightly frown, and Su Meiyao, who was at the side, had a strange light flash in her eyes. Bai Yuyu did not object, but seeing this, Chen Zhang's hand also slowly slid up her leg. When it brushed past her smooth and firm calves, he could not help but pinch her. Very quickly, Chen Zhang's large hand reached under Bai Yuyu's snow-white skirt, and rested on her ice-cold thighs that were as exquisite as jade. She didn't think that Bai Yuyu would actually be more tolerant towards Chen Shang than she was, letting Chen Shang touch her white legs like this. At the moment, Chen Zhang's heart was in turmoil, the evil fire was soaring, and there was something underwater that was already becoming sinister. "Sister Yuyu, come down and bathe together," Chen Shang said while laughing. "Don't push yourself too far." Bai Yuyu looked at him coldly, causing him to quickly withdraw his hand, but the feeling of touching Bai Yuyu's thigh had never left his mind. Chen Shang sighed in enjoyment, and laughed while looking at Su Meiyao. "Your senior sister is so much more generous than you miser. HMPH, little scoundrel." Su Meiyao was very unhappy. She never thought that Bai Yuyu would actually be so generous as to touch Chen Zhang's thighs. And Bai Yuyu dared to come out, and they stayed inside the storage ring for a long time. To be able to come out and chat with Chen Shang, the little guy, was a very happy thing. After he finished relaxing, Chen Shang took out the Yanlong furnace. He already understood how to refine a middle-grade profound rank pellet, Chunyuan Gold Dan. Generally speaking, he would need to learn how to refine about 3 pellets of the same level, and only with a solid foundation would he be able to get another level up. Only then would he be able to refine higher-tier pellets. Right now, I can still refine Sky Thunder pills and God-eroding powder. They are offensive pills, probably even that Dan King Li Tianjin from back then did not know how to refine them. Chen Shang took out the materials for the Heaven Thunder pill. The profound thunder grass seeds and the thunder origin fruit were the ingredients used to refine the heavenly thunder pills, and also the first time Chen Shang had refined such an aggressive pill. The difficulty of the pill's refinement was extremely high, because the power of the pill's explosion was extremely hard to control. As Chen Shang processed the ingredients, he listened to Su Meiyao explain the main points of refining the heavenly thunder pills. He recalled what Su Meiyao had told him before he started to put the herbs in the furnace. He used the foreseeing alchemy, and when he refined the Heaven Thunder pill, it was just like the Chunyuan Gold Dan that he refined last time. Especially the Thunder Source fruit, one needed to be extremely careful in controlling the flames and gently burn the fruit to dust, allowing the tyrannical power of thunder to be released. If the control was not good, the entire Thunder Origin fruit would explode. Now that he had the rich experience of refining Chunyuan Gold Dan, it was relatively easy to control when dealing with the Thunder Origin fruit. It was just that he did not expect the berserk lightning energy from the Thunder Origin fruit, which resulted in the foreseeing alchemy making a huge mistake. You can only produce 1 Thunder Yuan fruit at a time. Moreover, you will need to pour a large amount of Thunder Attribute True Essence into the fruit in order to produce even more violent energy. Therefore, condensing a pill is the key, Su Meiyao said. Chapter 549, Heavenly Thunder Pill. At first, he thought that it would be easier to refine using the foreseeing alchemy because he had made some improvements in the foreseeing alchemy. He was able to slow down the process of the refining process, but now, when he was refining the Heavenly Thunder pill, it was extremely tricky. Just as Su Meiyao had said, it was very crucial to condense the core, and the progress was very slow, because he was not proficient in it yet, so he could only inject a bit of Thunder Attribute True Qi into it. However, his Thunder Attribute True Qi was in conflict with the Thunder Attribute energy released by the Thunder Origin fruit and the Profound Lightning Grass seed. One must know that this Heavenly Thunder pill was a martial artist that could cause injuries to the extreme realm, thus one could see how powerful it was. To suppress the tyrannical Thunder Attributed energy, it was truly not easy, and it had to be compressed into a small pellet. Just like with his cultivation of innate qi, after being compressed by a high concentration, the energy would change and the quality would become very high. Once detonated, the power would be very strong, so Chen Shang did not doubt the power of the heavenly thunder pill at all. With a honglong sound, the Yanlong furnace suddenly trembled, and Chen Shang once again announced his failure by exploding the furnace. Chen Shang had already failed to enter for more than 20 batches. He frantically scratched his head. It's only a middle-grade profound rank pill, and I've already failed so many times. What if I fail to refine an earth stage pill or a heaven stage pill in the future? He spent a lot of time concocting the heavenly thunder pill because he needed to inject a large amount of thunder-attributed true energy. The time he needed to inject the pill would be slow, and it would take him an entire day to recover from that. When Hua Shangyu refined the life recovery pill, I saw that when she used the foreseeing alchemy, she had basically succeeded in one furnace. That is because she has a solid foundation, and she understood all kinds of medicinal herbs very well. Even if she met some unfamiliar herbs, she could use the foreseeing alchemy to quickly become familiar with them, and in order for you to reach her realm, this kind of experience is necessary. It also means that you have to improve and perfect your foreseeing alchemy. Su Meiyao walked over, caressed Chen Zhang's cheeks and comforted her. Bai Yuyu said, "You have a lot of medicinal ingredients, you should be a bit patient." Chen Shang took a deep breath. With these two beauties encouraging him, he would definitely work hard. He placed the medicinal ingredients that Su Meiyao had processed into the Yanlong furnace and continued refining the heavenly thunder pill. Su Meiyao had said that the medicinal ingredients for these pure yuan pills and the heavenly thunder pill were rather special. They were both the type that could easily explode easily. If one could master these two types of pills well, then when they met this type of high-leveled pills in the future, they wouldn't feel that it was difficult. He could only concoct one batch a day, spending the rest of the time concocting God's elixir. At the moment, he had a lot of herbs to concoct in bulk, and even though he did not need some, it looked very satisfying. For example, the soaring 9 deadly flower and various earth-grade herbs. Using his Fa Li to suppress others made Chen Shang feel at ease. At least, he didn't need to be like the other alchemists, unable to continue suppressing Chen Shang because his consciousness was not strong enough. His Fa Li was very strong and his use was much more efficient than his consciousness. It was already the 47th day. Chen Shang looked at the electric pill inside the Yanlong furnace, and now, he had successfully mixed the thunder attribute true energy that he had poured into it with the thunder attribute energy from the medicinal ingredients into the pill, condensing it into a pill. What he needed to do now was to make this pill smaller. Right now, the pill was the size of a thumb, but Chen Shang had to compress it to be the size of a soybean, in order to make the thunder attributed energy inside have a higher density and quality, and a stronger power. It was the same with compressing his true energy into true essence particles. When he cultivated, the final step of compressing true essence was about the same as this. So at this time, he could be considered very relaxed. After he continuously released all sorts of uniform pressure, that rapidly spinning pill slowly shrank until it was the size of a bean. Done. Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief and shouted in surprise. Opening the lid of the pill furnace, Chen Shang placed a light blue pill in his hands and sighed. It's been so long, and it's only this little, and also just one pill. It's not worth it. When you become proficient, it will be very easy for you to refine it. When that time comes, you can imbue it with even stronger thunder attribute true qi, which will be even more powerful, and it will not be difficult to deal with people in the middle and late stages of the spirit martial realm. Although you can't heavily injure them, it's still possible to affect them. This pellet of yours can only be considered to be of low quality. There is one benefit of this pellet of heavenly thunder, it can increase one's power, and when you become proficient in the future, you can use several batches of medicinal ingredients to refine it at the same time. The amount of thunder attribute true energy that you can pour in is even more, and you can also compress it to such a large extent. Chen Shang did not dare to underestimate this heavenly thunder pill anymore, but he was unable to test it now. If it was suddenly thrown into someone's mouth and detonated during a battle, Bai Yuyu let out a cold laugh. That beautiful face was filled with cruelty, and couldn't help but shiver. If someone else could swallow it and detonate it, then that person would definitely explode, causing their belly to bloom. The inside of a person was the weakest, and this kind of thing was truly sinister. Make another 10 or so pills. After you get familiar with them, you can then refine something even more powerful, the spirit erosion powder. Su Meiyao returned the heavenly thunder pill to Chen Shang. This caused Chen Shang to be secretly excited, and he continued to refine the heavenly thunder pills. Even though he had successfully refined one pill, it did not mean that he had become completely familiar with it. After he finished condensing it, he gave it to Su Meiyao to create a large amount of medicinal ingredients. Of course, he would need to refine more heavenly thunder pills, and when necessary, these would be good for his self-defense. It only took him 4 hours to make one. In a month, he had managed to make 50 pills. At first, he had failed several times, but later on, he had improved a lot. There are so many materials for the corrosive divine powder. Chen Shang took a small breath. The ingredients for the God-eroding powder came from the broken soul trees. They needed to refine the flowers, fruits, leaves, roots and branches of the broken soul tree into fine powder. When sprinkled on a person's body, it could quickly dissolve the person's flesh. It was extremely vicious, and belonged to a forbidden being. Of course, if Chen Shang wanted to use it, he had to be extremely careful. Chapter 550. Broken soul trees' flowers, leaves, and fruits were all pure white without any impurities at all. They all looked extremely strange and huge, and the size of Chen Zhang's palm was no wonder it was so big. A leaf, a flower, a drop of sap, a fruit, and a small chunk of tree root. This was the medicine used to refine the God-eroding powder that would cause people to feel fear in their hearts. Whether it was in heaven realm or the mortal realm, as long as one talked about this kind of thing, as long as one knew of it, their faces would turn pale. Refining the God erosion powder can be said to be not difficult. You have refined a white jade powder, it's basically the same as that one, maybe you will succeed in one attempt. The God erosion powder is a material that is very rare. For something like the broken soul tree, once found, it will be destroyed by righteous people, and after a while, it will become extinct, and no one will dare to use it, because if they are found out, they will be faced with the endless pursuit of the righteous sects. Su Meiyao said with a serious face, I have never refined this kind of thing before, but my master told me about the refining process of the God-eroding powder. The higher the quality of the broken soul tree, the stronger the corrosive powder was, and it was impossible to guard against it. Even with an extremely strong protective armor and true qi, it was difficult to resist the corrosion of this heaven-defying thing. Even gods were afraid, let alone humans and immortals, so they were afraid of being held by the alchemists to threaten them, and so they joined forces to stop this terrifying thing. There is a way to prevent that. You just have to soak in the tree juice of the broken soul tree for 3 days and 3 nights, and the God-eroding powder won't be able to corrode you. It is said that it can prevent other kinds of energy from corroding you. Bai Yu said. Chen Zhang's eyes lit up, and he laughed. We will soak together. If I soak alone, it would be too wasteful. Wouldn't it be difficult to grow this tree sap? Su Meiyao laughed and scolded. That's reasonable, but I can consider that. She looked at Chen Shang lovingly, and even tousled her hair flirtatiously, causing Chen Zhang's heart to throb. There were indeed very little tree sap in the broken soul tree, and it would have to wait a period of time before it could grow them. Furthermore, the storage time was limited, and once one of them had passed the required time limit, it would become ineffective. He had to be very careful in making the God-eroding powder. He had to wrap it with his soul consciousness to make it hang in the air. The things he stored had to be special or else they would be corroded. Looks like I need to soak in the tree juice of the broken soul tree as soon as possible, in case I run into a little bit of trouble. This was Chen Zhang's first time concocting a pill with someone as if he was facing a great enemy, causing him to be extremely nervous. He felt that he was not the only one who had to soak in it, even his own pill furnace had to soak in it to prevent it from being corroded. This Yanlong furnace would be considered a treasure even in the heaven realm. Even if it was destroyed, he would not be able to cry. The broken soul tree's tree sap was transparent. It was used to prevent the God-eroding powder from corroding each other, and the leaves, fruits, roots and flowers itself were nothing, but once combined together, they would possess an incomparably corrosive and dissolving force. Chen Shang had to carefully refine them right now. These things were all on top of the same tree. Other than it being extremely difficult to melt, it was very simple to fuse them. The thing that Chen Shang found difficult was that the control of fire was very high and required very subtle control of fire, otherwise the medicinal ingredients would be destroyed. Chen Shang himself possessed the heaven and earth flame soul, and had also trained in the fire god method, so his control over fire had already reached a superb level. Therefore, when he was burning the medicinal ingredients, he was very relaxed. Refining pills together with the foreseeing alchemy was indeed as easy as Su Meiyao had said. Now Chen Shang knew why the people above heaven realm were also afraid of this thing, because while refining was simple, its killing power was strong. If a crappy alchemist obtained a high-quality broken soul tree, then some of the big heads above the heaven realm would not be able to sleep, because this type of colorless and tasteless god-etching powder, if it was quietly scattered a little, it would cause one's body to be tormented, and it would slowly dissolve. The corrosive power was very difficult to resist and it dissolved at an extremely fast speed. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu had already entered the storage ring and used the god creation liquid to create the tree sap, but it was very slow. From this, it could be seen how much energy broken soul tree required. In just 4 hours, Chen Shang had refined a small box of god erosion powder. This powder was very exquisite, very small, and if it was just a little bit, it would simply be invisible, just like air, completely transparent. Right now, Chen Shang was trembling in fear. He did not dare to use it carelessly, because if his finger touched even a little bit of it, his entire hand might even be corroded in an instant. Actually, it's not that scary. His mana is still able to resist this sort of thing. Long Shui said. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu had used up all the god creation liquid that Chen Shang had condensed over the past few days, but they still managed to get a pool of the broken soul tree sap. Looking at the transparent liquid that was emitting a strange glow in the bathtub, Su Yun rubbed his hands as he looked at Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu with fiery eyes and said, "Am I supposed to soak in it first, then wait for you too? You can soak in the sap for 3 days and 3 nights, and the sap will be useless." As Su Meiyao said this, he began to take off his clothes, causing Chen Shang to laugh wickedly in his heart. "Do you want to strip naked?" Chen Shang asked seriously. "Not only is it incomplete, it will also be absorbed by the clothes." Su Meiyao's back was facing Chen Shang and he quickly took off all his clothes. Seeing Su Meiyao's captivating jade body, Chen Shang fiercely swallowed his saliva, his eyes went straight, and Su Meiyao quickly jumped into the water, but her slender snow-white breasts, her perky butt, and her slim waist were deeply imprinted in his mind. Just as he was in a daze, he heard another, putong, sound. Bai Yuyu had actually taken off his clothes and jumped into the water while Su Meiyao was still in a daze. This made Chen Shang extremely regretful in his heart, if not he could have seen Bai Yuyu's jade body. Although he could only look at his back, it was enough. When it came to him, he wasn't afraid at all. He knew that these two beauties were bored to death in the ring. It wasn't the first time they saw his body, but it was enough to count every single hair on his body. He also jumped into the bath. The pool was not very big, so Chen Shang and the two girls were very close. Originally, he could have used the clear broken soul tree juice to block the two beauties, Snow White and round proud breasts, but who would have known that they would actually cover it with their hands? Chapter 551. It was rare for him to have this kind of opportunity with these two exceptional beauties, but now these good things were actually blocked by them. Seeing Chen Zhang's depressed expression, Su Meiyao smiled coquettishly. "Little scoundrel, to be able to make you look at me like this, you should be satisfied." Chen Shang groaned deeply. "You have looked at me so many times, I have only seen you once, it is too unfair." Speaking of the matter of them spying on him, the two girls' faces suddenly flushed red. They had indeed seen Chen Shang many times before. Just as Chen Shang was about to close his eyes and be disappointed, the two jade hands that were covering his chest suddenly pulled away, causing Chen Zhang's pupils to constrict. His line of sight was focused on the two pink points on the snow peak, and as she was soaking in the transparent tree sap, she seemed even more beautiful, causing Chen Shang to have difficulty breathing, and he could not help but take a deep breath. He never thought that Bai Yuyu would actually be so generous, and let him see it. "From now on, you're not allowed to say anything about me stealing glances at you." Bai Yuyu coldly glared at Chen Shang, her ice-cold face completely flushed red. This made this ice beauty appear extremely charming, and she actually had a kind of strange flirtatiousness, causing Chen Shang to praise her repeatedly in his heart. Seeing Chen Shang looking greedily at the beautiful jade peak on Bai Yuyu's chest, Su Meiyao suddenly felt that she was being ignored, and it was as if she had suddenly become air. She felt that she was a beauty at the same level as her senior. How could she be ignored by a man? Since Bai Yuyu was already this generous, Su Meiyao couldn't be more stingy. She felt that Chen Shang had already seen it once in the past, so it wouldn't matter if she showed it to him again. Just as Chen Shang was appreciating Bai Yuyu, he suddenly saw that Su Meiyao's hands had moved away as well, and there was another pair of crystal clear, smooth, beautiful and plump big jade rabbits, and the two seductive cherry red points were left on them, captivating him and causing his blood to boil once again, causing his body to burn up. Su Meiyao was originally an enchantress who was so beautiful that it could drip water. At this moment, her charming expression made it harder for people to endure, and it made them wish that they could hug her. Seeing Chen Zhang's short breath, Su Meiyao laughed, "Little scoundrel, you can't hold yourself back anymore, right?" Chen Shang suppressed the evil flame with luck. If he let the evil flame continue to burn, he would definitely do something. He let out a light breath. "Who said I could not hold it in?" "I knew it, you have a lecherous heart but no guts." Bai Yu sneered, her eyes full of contempt. "What, Sister Yu, you want me to have sexual courage towards you?" Chen Shang rubbed his hands together as he laughed, "If elder sister Yu needs anything, I am very happy to help." Although Chen Shang did not dare to do anything to these two unparalleled beauties, he decided that he must obtain them in the future. After all, he felt that his relationship with them had developed quite well. "You'll still have to soak in it for another 3 days and 3 nights. I'm sure you'll see enough of it. Look at you, you can't wait to grow a few pairs of eyes." Su Meiyao released a burst of bell-like laughter. Her chest rose up and down, the jade rabbit shook, and waves rippled outwards, causing Chen Zhang's heart to groan. He really wanted to reach out and grab the beautiful white rabbit and play with it. "Can you massage me?" Chen Shang suddenly asked. "No." Bai Yu immediately answered resolutely, and continued to look at him with that ice-cold gaze. Chen Shang had already known that this would happen, so he did not hold much hope. Just as he was sighing, Su Meiyao's eyes widened in happiness, and said in a sweet and flirtatious voice, "Since you have worked so hard for us all these years, I will sacrifice myself for you to touch." When Chen Shang heard that sweet voice that made his entire body go numb, his bones went soft. He could not believe that it was true. He swallowed and asked, "Really?" "Of course it's true." Su Meiyao's face was extremely rosy, but she was not embarrassed at all. Instead, her current appearance made people even more intoxicated. Chen Shang was so happy that he almost went mad. He hurriedly moved closer and carefully extended his hand out, placing it on one of Su Meiyao's jade peaks. Su Meiyao felt that her chest, which she had never been touched by a man before, was being invaded, and her charming body trembled as she drooped her head down slightly. Her cheeks became even redder, completely revealing the fondness deep inside her bones. What surprised Bai Yu was that her junior sister spirit demon was actually touched by Chen Shang to the point that she was gasping for breath, and looked like she was enjoying it a lot. Chen Shang suddenly embraced Su Meiyao closer, his mouth moving closer to her. One of his hands was tightly hugging Su Meiyao's waist, the other was rubbing Su Meiyao's chest, while his tongue was frantically twisting and flicking her tongue. Both of them could feel each other's heartbeats at this moment, both of them were excited, wishing that they could be more intimate with each other. However, both of them were very well coordinated, they could endure it and didn't make any further movements, just continuing to passionately and crazily kiss each other, causing the water in the pool to undulate. Seeing Chen Shang and Su Meiyao tightly wrapped together in front of him, naked body wrapped around, passionately kissing, Bai Yu suddenly had an indescribable feeling in her heart. She was actually secretly jealous, and looked at Chen Shang and Su Meiyao with a gaze full of jealousy and bitterness. However, she did not reject him. At this moment, she was already intoxicated by this kind of crazy passion that was wrapped around her waist, and she had a wonderful feeling that this was the first time she had tasted this feeling since living so long, and it made her feel like she had lived for nothing. It was unknown how much time had passed before the two of them finally separated, but the two of them still looked at each other deeply. That gaze was as if they hated each other to the point that they couldn't wait to eat each other, and Chen Zhang's hands were still on Su Meiyao's slender waist. "Sister Meiyao, I like you," Chen Shang said while grinning, but his eyes were filled with deep feelings. "Damned little scoundrel, you dare to attack me." Su Meiyao's eyes contained the autumn waves as she looked at Chen Shang with a hazy gaze. Leaning on Chen Zhang's shoulder, she said in a tender voice, "Big sis, I like you too." He had long known that it was very easy for a lonely and mature woman like Su Meiyao to obtain victory. Furthermore, she was a woman who had never tasted anything sweet before, and because she could not recover her strength, she had fallen to a state no different from a normal person's. "HMPH, are you happy?" She made a decision a moment ago. Although she didn't have a deep feelings for Chen Shang, but she felt that Chen Shang was a man that she could recognize, and a man that she and Bai Yu had groomed together. Since it was trained by the two of them, they would definitely nurture Chen Shang to a very good level. Chapter 552. After capturing the beauty's heart, Chen Shang was elated. He kissed Su Meiyao's forehead and then looked at Bai Yuyu. He had almost forgotten about this cold beauty. Bai Yuyu scoffed, "You guys can really mess around, you have to at least think about how other people feel." Chen Shang also wanted to entangle himself with Bai Yuyu a little, but he knew that Bai Yuyu was unlike the spirit of Su Meiyao. Although Bai Yuyu would be more open-minded than him sometimes, that was only on the basis of her principles. The last time she kissed Chen Shang was because she had promised Chen Shang, and now that she was showing her chest to him, it was because she frequently looked at Chen Shang. "Senior sister, you're jealous." Su Meiyao leaned on Chen Zhang's chest, affectionately hugging Chen Shang and laughed. Nope, it was impossible for her to not pay attention to Chen Shang. Her previously cold and heartless heart was melted by Chen Shang, and from a certain point of view, her feelings for Chen Shang were even deeper than Su Meiyao's. Chen Shang really wanted to go over and take care of Bai Yuyu right now, but Su Meiyao saw through his thoughts. She stepped on him strongly, and used her consciousness to send a sound transmission to Chen Shang. "I understand, senior sister, if you use that kind of method, only 30% of the time would succeed, and if you don't succeed, your relationship with senior sister would be extremely awkward. You have already melted her cold heart, so she definitely wouldn't be able to tolerate other men, you have to take it slowly." "Humph, what's more, you just got it, and now you want to take senior sister in consecutively. You're asking for a beating, little scoundrel." Su Meiyao actually showed him how to take Bai Yuyu in. Chen Shang giggled and immediately hugged the beautiful girl tightly in his arms. Although both of them were red in color, it was naked, but he didn't have any other thoughts. He only felt that this kind of embrace would allow the two of them to be extremely close to each other, and Su Meiyao enjoyed Chen Zhang's warm and comfortable embrace very much. She hugged Chen Shang tightly, pressed her face against his chest, and closed her eyes and fell asleep. Su Meiyao found a place to entrust her heart to, and suddenly felt a lot more relaxed. She had been wandering for so many years, but this was the first time she was able to place her feelings and everything else onto a man. The burden that was pressing down on her shoulders suddenly disappeared. Bai Yuyu's current emotions were extremely complicated, so she could only close her eyes and calm down. Chen Shang could walk in front of Bai Yuyu with a single step, so even if he leaned against the side of the bath, he could still see Bai Yuyu's flawless body. The reason why Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao were single for such a long time was because there were no men whom they took a fancy to was currently being nurtured by the two of them together, and his body was filled with the yin-yang divine veins that they bestowed upon him. The martial arts that he learned was also their absolute art, and it could be said that the achievements that Chen Shang had achieved today were all because of them. They watched as Chen Shang grew up, and they would also do their best to cultivate him into a rancor that was unparalleled in the world. They had confidence in themselves, and also in Chen Shang. Therefore, Su Meiyao thought that Chen Shang would definitely be a man who would satisfy her in the future. At least, she was very satisfied with Chen Shang now. After the two girls soaked in the broken soul tree juice for 2 days, Su Meiyao suddenly woke up. Bai Yuyu also opened her eyes, but Chen Shang frowned, because he felt a strange energy suddenly flood into his body, and quickly flowed into his limbs and bones, and into his head. "I didn't expect to finally see an effect after soaking in it for 2 days. Bai Yuyu said. In the past 2 days, they had just felt the changes in their bodies. "I thought you were going to sink your head." Chen Shang felt the strange energy revolving inside his body, and laughed. "Of course not, once this energy disappears, I'll consider it a success." When Su Meiyao made contact with her gaze, she also wanted to kiss with Chen Shang for a while, but she and Chen Shang knew that they had to guess how Bai Yuyu would feel, so they just hugged. Su Meiyao saw that Chen Shang was only carrying her and did nothing, and laughed. "Little scoundrel, you're actually so honest. There will be plenty of chances to do bad things to you in the future, what's there to be anxious about?" Chen Shang used a great deal of willpower to suppress the evil fire in his heart, otherwise, something that was rising in his heart would stab at Su Meiyao. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu had only learned the 5th layer. Since they had not learned the devil-suppressing Kung Fu, they naturally could not understand it as thoroughly as Chen Shang had, and still had to seek advice from Chen Shang. Cultivating with 2 naked beauties, Chen Shang felt that he had quite the luck in women. At this moment, he was also working extremely hard to guide the 2 girls on the cultivation of the 2 devil-subduing method. The energy that entered their bodies took a full 5 days before it disappeared. The two girls were the first to walk out of the bathing pool. Chen Shang, who had endured for many days, could clearly see an even more deadly thing now. This made him unable to control himself. The evil fire almost exploded out. He suddenly wanted to go out quickly and find Shui Shenxian to have a good time, if not he would suffocate to death. Have you seen enough? If you haven't, I can take off my clothes and let you see enough. Bai Yuyu wore a beautiful purple long dress, revealing her noble temperament. Along with her naturally cold temperament, it made her look even more noble and elegant. Although it looked like she was 1,000 miles away from anyone, it made people want to get closer to her and get their hands on her. Chen Shang did not think that Bai Yuyu would actually say such a thing, as he was becoming more and more open-minded. Enough. Chen Shang took a deep breath. He had to be content with himself. Su Meiyao laughed tenderly. Senior sister, will you still give this brat such a big advantage next time? Bai Yuyu did not say anything. She knew that there would be a second time on the first try, but after this time, she felt that it would not be a big deal if she gave Chen Shang an advantage in the future. Su Meiyao was the same as Bai Yuyu, wearing the same set of purple luxurious dresses. However, she seemed to be extremely flirtatious and noble, her mature charm carrying an unparalleled charm, causing Chen Zhang's heart to itch. These clothes were all bought by Chen Shang and only some of the better-looking clothes, he only bought 2 of them. Recalling the beautiful time he spent in the bath, Chen Shang was elated. Chen Shang could not waste the broken soul tree juice now, so he put it down. He knew that once the tree juice passed the time, it would lose its effects, and he could still feel the energy in the tree juice. In the future, he would need to use this Yanlong furnace to refine all of the god erosion powder, and he would inevitably be stained with some, so he had to see if this Yanlong furnace could be like humans and absorb the energy from the broken soul tree. Chapter 553. Right now, Chen Shang had already learned how to refine 3 types of middle-grade profound rank pills, and the next was the profound level Shengping Dan S. However, the ingredients were not ready yet, because the god liquids were all used to make the broken soul tree juice. Since the Yanlong furnace will need to soak in it for a period of time, you should rest and properly condense and create the divine liquid. I can use this time to teach you some things regarding the profound level Shengping Dan's alchemy. Chen Shang said in a gentle voice. Chen Shang was now her lover, and the way she and Chen Shang spoke was completely different from before. It made Chen Zhang's heart warm. When refining pills, as long as it was not a restriction of medicinal herbs, one would first learn to refine more practical pills. Most of the unorthodox pills were just for practice. The mystical sunfire pill that Chen Shang was currently preparing to refine was something that he had refined a long time ago. He had the flaming 9 suns fruit and the fire soul grass. These pills were what people who cultivated the fire attribute would need the most to strengthen their flames. However, Su Meiyao had said that this was the best pill to feed the fire spirit, and it was said that it could even help the fire spirit evolve. Of course, Chen Zhang's current flames and soul flames were extremely strong. If they were strengthened any further, it would be unknown just how powerful they would be, but he felt that he did not really need them. There were only 20 to 30 sets of profound yang fire pills, which was not enough for Chen Shang, so he still had to make more, and even if he succeeded, he would need to make at least 10 more sets to familiarize himself with the next type. I think it would be best for you to use your time in the stellar transposition realm to cultivate. From the way you are learning how to refine pills, your learning speed is very fast, you only need a large number of ingredients to fail you. But if you want to refine an earth-level pill, not only will you need medicinal ingredients, your strength will also have to keep up. Bai Yuyu suddenly said. Chen Shang frowned, he was planning to refine an earth-level pill in one go. Su Meiyao said. Senior sister is not without reason, with your current speed, you will definitely be able to learn how to refine an earth-level pill within 2 to 3 years. How about this, change your plans, your main goal here is to cultivate and condense the God creation liquid. This way, after you leave, you will have enough strength and create the God's liquid. At that time, you can even fail to refine a type of pill a few hundred times. Now that Chen Shang had learned the Fire God method, through the tempering method and the Raging Inferno Dantian and Fire God method, even if he increased his strength quickly, there would not be any problems. This way, he wouldn't need to find trouble with Huang Jintian. The last time he participated in the martial contest of the king, he entered the evil demon and obtained over 100 demon hearts, as well as a few beast core and beast core above them. Although these things were not as many as the Black Rock Zhao's beast core previously, with such a large number, he would still be able to increase his strength by a large margin. Right now, he was already at the middle stage of the spiritual Kung Fu realm, and was extremely eager to obtain strong power as soon as possible. There were hundreds of these things and they contained a lot more energy than pure yuan pills. Previously, he didn't find a good way to swallow them, so he never used them to cultivate and only used them to concoct pills. And these demon heart beast core that contained pure energy would be instantly refined by the power of refinement that was released by the raging fire in his dantian as soon as it entered his dantian. Chen Zhang's body was now like a furnace. As long as it contained the mind consciousness left behind by dregs or some demon beast evil demon-s, once it touched the melting power, it would be completely melted away. Is this the body refinement realm of the fire god method? It looks like it's going to be very painful. I wonder what it will be like when you combine it with the profound Wu physical exercise. Chen Shang was not only training his innate qi, he was also training his physical body. He was planning to cultivate his innate qi for a month and then train his physical body for another month in order to balance and build a firm foundation. When he started to refine according to the body tempering manual on the fire god method, he saw that the raging inferno dantian had suddenly absorbed a large amount of his true energy and ignited a raging fire in his dantian. At this time, he suddenly felt a burning pain all over his body. In just an instant, every part of his body was being burned by that strange flame, making him feel incomparable pain. In the past, when he used this method to cultivate, pain would always come from the outside, but now, it would burst out from the inside. Although it was also very painful, it was just that he was unable to adapt to the pain for a while. The thing that surprised him the most was that after he had cultivated the body tempering technique, his Gen Qi had been drained very quickly. In just half a day, more than half of it had been drained. But now, it was being consumed so quickly. Of course, Chen Shang quickly found the reason, because when he was cultivating this technique, he would create an indescribable pressure that rushed forth and clashed against his body, acting as a tempering force. Fortunately, he had a solid foundation. Otherwise, he would not be able to hold on for so long. A day had passed, and he was completely exhausted. All his true qi had been used up, and his body had been tormented to the point where he had no strength left. However, as his amazing recovery rate recovered, he felt that this method of body tempering was very effective. He rested for a good half a day, waiting for his true qi to recover before continuing. He wanted to continue like this for a month. Now, he knew that no matter how much he trained, he would never be able to avoid the torture of pain. However, in order to obtain strength and not be oppressed by others, he had to endure it. Every time he came out, he would unavoidably entangle himself with Chen Shang and let Chen Shang take advantage of him. Even though Chen Shang did not completely get Su Meiyao, he was extremely satisfied with himself now, because he had already thought of this a long time ago. During the dry and arduous process of cultivation, there was a woman who consoled him, which allowed him to be filled with motivation. 8 years passed in the blink of an eye, and Chen Shang had long since entered the late stage of spiritual Kung Fu realm. After entering the late stage of the spiritual Kung Fu realm, he had condensed a total of 1,000 true essence grains, and obtained a total of 9 times the power of giving, which caused the 5 beast statues in his dantian to light up a total of 20,000 true essence grains. At the moment, his true qi was extremely dense, but compared to the 5 giant ancient beast statues, these 20,000 true essence grains seemed insignificant, which would constantly remind him of how insignificant his power was. Chapter 554. Right now, if he wanted to enter the soul martial realm, he would need to condense 2,000 true essence particles, which was twice the level of the previous realm. Not only would he need to improve his true qi after stepping into the soul martial realm, the most important thing was to cultivate up to the congenital Kung Fu soul. This congenital Kung Fu soul was very special. It was formed by fusing the weak consciousness hidden within the true energy in the body with the strong spiritual consciousness. After the congenital Kung Fu soul was created, it would be like the fire soul, entering into every cell of the body and strengthening a martial artist. Of course, everyone had different martial spirits. For example, a martial artist who cultivated thunder attribute Gen Qi, his congenital Kung Fu soul might be thunder attribute, but it would take a long time for the thunder soul to evolve to its strongest form, so in a few cases, many people wanted to obtain a martial spirit of the 5 elements but most of them were unable to do so. Under normal circumstances, most of the condensed martial spirits were auxiliary training, allowing one to sense the surrounding spiritual energy more clearly. When absorbing the spiritual energy, it was quickly converted into genuine qi, and the congenital Kung Fu soul was also known as the power soul. Warriors used their own powerful spiritual sense to sense the energy in the surroundings and then condensed this consciousness together to form a martial spirit. For example, the fire soul and the thunder soul have been in existence for tens of thousands of years before you have a strong power after you fuse them together, and a martial artist's congenital kung fu soul will need a period of nurturing before it can evolve to its most powerful form. At least, right now, Senior Sister and I have yet to completely unearth the power of our martial souls. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang was stuck at the bottleneck of his solidified martial spirit. After entering the late stage of the spirit martial realm, he had already cultivated up to 2,000 crystals, and his consciousness had reached the limit, but this was still not considered a breakthrough. He had to cultivate out the congenital kung fu soul to be able to obtain the power of giving. Will it be because I already have the heaven fire soul and a lightning soul, that it will be difficult for me to cultivate the congenital kung fu soul? Chen Shang said in a depressed tone. He tried for more than a month but to no avail. Right now, your problem is that you cannot feel the power of the spirit. All living things have a spirit, power also has a spirit, you can only feel the power of your body and gather all these spirits together. Once these spirits are complete, it will be a martial spirit, but it will only be in its elementary form, but it will bring you many benefits. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang took a light breath and continued to try. However, after a day had passed, he still failed. Now, he was extremely curious about what kind of congenital kung fu soul he would learn. Sister Meiyao, how's your congenital kung fu soul? Chen Shang looked at Su Meiyao who was sitting on the bedside and asked curiously. At that time, my strongest form of strength was when my powers fused with the 5 different types of attributes. I am the alchemist, and my flames were the stronger of the 5 different attributes. In the end, my martial spirit became the Tai Chi fire lotus form, looking like a fire lotus but also like the Tai Chi diagram. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang sighed, he never thought that the congenital kung fu soul would actually be so strange. Bai Yuyu said. My congenital kung fu soul is an ice sword. Did you guys know what form your congenital kung fu soul had from the beginning? Chen Shang asked again. He wanted to understand the congenital kung fu soul and figure out how he could cultivate it. That's right, although you know it, you can't release it. However, when your martial spirit grows for a period of time, you can condense it into a human form and release it into your body. You can attack and use it as a defense. Bai Yuyu said. Su Meiyao who was deep in thought suddenly frowned. Little scoundrel, when you cultivate your martial spirit, release your strongest power, and then try again, can you feel the spirit in your power? Chen Zhang's consciousness was extremely strong, but he was unable to sense the spirit in the power. This was a very strange phenomenon, and now Su Meiyao seemed to have figured out the reason. Isn't the strongest power the dragon power? Chen Shang said as he slightly furrowed his brows. He now had over 20,000 primeval essence grains, so the condensed dragon power was extremely terrifying. Hurry up and try, Su Meiyao urged. Chen Shang sat down cross-legged and started to circulate the innate qi in his body through the Taiji dragon suppressed kung fu technique, quickly transforming it into the dragon power, then compressed it into the dantian. Turn all my gen qi into dragon power, said with some difficulty. At this time, he and Bai Yuyu had no choice but to lean against the wall, because the terrifying pressure that was being emitted from Chen Zhang's body was becoming stronger and stronger. Although they had some strength now, they were very weak. As the number of dragon powers that Chen Shang had condensed increased, the 2 girls could not hold on any longer and had no choice but to enter the storage ring. The stone room also started to slightly tremble, the chairs, cups, etc. At this time, Chen Shang compressed the condensed dragon power in his dantian, forming a small ball that was revolving. Only by doing this, could these dragon power become much quieter. His true energy had completely turned into dragon power, and he immediately used the method of sensing the spirit of power in the Taiji dragon suppressed kung fu to release his divine sense. He had tried many times before but to no avail. But now that he had tried it, he could feel the dragon power's incomparably active spirit in his dantian. This made him extremely excited, so it turned out that his power's spirit was hidden in his strongest state. The dragon power was condensed into a small ball by Chen Shang and the scattered dragon power spirits were all inside. At this moment, it was simply too easy for him to gather them all. After sensing the dragon power's spirit, Chen Shang immediately released his mana and gathered it together. The boundless mana enveloped the small sphere condensed from the powerful dragon power and slowly squeezed the dragon power's spirit together. Half a day passed, and Chen Shang suddenly opened his eyes, because in that moment, he saw a dragon soaring out of nowhere, its entire body wreathed in flames. Success! Su Meiyao shouted in delight, it's time for the power of giving to appear. If it's still 9 times stronger, you will have an additional 18,000 primeval stones and 40,000 of them. What kind of strength will you have then? Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao were really looking forward to it, but the ball made of dragon power in Chen Zhang's dantian had already melted and turned into true qi, and the condensed congenital Kung Fu soul also started to fuse with every single cell in his body. Did you see the shape of your congenital Kung Fu soul? Su Meiyao asked curiously. Chapter 555. I see. It's a fire dragon. It's covered in flames and has fiery red crystal-like scales. It looks a lot more beautiful than the azure dragon. As Chen Shang spoke, the power of giving had already crazily surged into his body. Fire crystal-like scales, this is definitely the Imperial Dragon race's dragon. How is this possible? You are just a human, how could you have the Imperial Dragon race's dragon martial spirit? This is impossible, Long Shui exclaimed. Chen Shang could not understand either. According to his knowledge, in order to obtain a powerful martial spirit like the dragon soul, one usually had to fuse with a dragon soul. That was why Long Shui felt it was strange. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were also incomparably surprised and delighted. They knew that with this kind of martial spirit, Chen Shang would definitely be able to obtain stronger power in the future. I can't know how strong the congenital Kung Fu soul is in the short term, but it's definitely not weak. Su Meiyao laughed. She was very happy to learn that her man possessed such a bizarre congenital Kung Fu soul. Long Shui scoffed, that's for sure, our Imperial Dragon race's dragon soul is the strongest. According to his description, the fire dragon he saw was most likely the fire god dragon, the strongest existence among all the fire dragons. Chen Zhang's spirit of power came from the dragon power, and because he possessed the heaven fire soul, his true qi was more like fire. It was understandable for him to have cultivated the fire dragon martial spirit. Not only was its speed fast, it also gave him a feeling of incomparable comfort. After all, this was a martial spirit that he had cultivated on his own, unlike the thunder soul and fire soul that he had fused with before, which could kill him with pain. After fusing with the fire dragon martial spirit, the power of giving started to enter even more crazily. Every time he broke through, the increased power would come from this mysterious power of giving, but Chen Shang discovered that he was able to compress the power of giving inside his true origin at a much faster rate. Even when compared to the previous times when he had obtained it, he was faster. He suspected that this was because he had cultivated the congenital Kung Fu soul. You have already stepped into the soul martial realm, the main thing is to cultivate the congenital Kung Fu soul. At the same time you raise your cultivation, you have to cultivate the congenital Kung Fu soul to its peak state. Su Meiyao said. I thought it would be difficult for the congenital Kung Fu soul to grow at its peak condition. Chen Shang was confused. Once the congenital Kung Fu soul reaches the extreme realm, it will exist and perish together with your flesh. No matter how your flesh is destroyed, as long as you do not die, the congenital Kung Fu soul will be fine, but right now, your flesh is injured, and the recovery speed is much slower than the speed of your body. Su Yun said with a calm voice. Once it surpassed the limit, it would attract nirvana doom, and a martial spirit would indeed have the effect of consolidating the soul and body. He only used 10 days to digest those power of giving S, and his dantian had an additional 20,000 true essence grains. This was the first time he had true essence grains. Chen Shang looked at his own finger, and quickly condensed a touch of dragon power. He felt that his control over this dragon power was even more fluid now, and when he transformed his innate qi into the dragon power, not only did he do as he pleased, the amount of true qi he consumed also decreased. He had already stayed here for 9 years, and because Su Meiyao had frequent interactions with him, he did not feel bored. I should be able to start refining the profound level Shengping Dan now. I feel that I have improved tremendously in every aspect. Just as Chen Shang took out the Yanlong furnace, he heard Zuo Junprofound's voice. Chen Shang, because something happened, you can't stay in there anymore, so you have to hurry up and come out. When you heard me, you immediately gave me an answer. Zuo Junprofound's voice was extremely anxious. Although Chen Shang had stayed inside for 9 years, it had only been 9 days since the outside. He asked in puzzlement, it's convenient for me to leave now. We'll talk about it when we get out. In the middle of the room, a beam of light suddenly appeared. Chen Shang walked in and reached the big hall on top of the huge building. Isn't it only 9 days? I still have 11 days. Seeing Zuo Jun profound, Chen Shang immediately said. Who would have thought that devil-suppressing divine palace would act so quickly? I just received news that 2 devil-subduing colleges would be teleported here from other realms within 4 to 6 hours. Not only that, there will be a group of elites coming out from the top of the heaven realm with strengths ranging from the extreme realm to the nirvana stage. Zuo Jun profound also felt that this was very troublesome. He was worried that he would be persecuted again when the time came. Chen Shang took a deep breath and frowned. Devil-suppressing divine palace is crazy, sending a group of elites down. This group of elites are not going anywhere, especially those nirvana stages. They probably have a much easier time crossing nirvana doom than they do in mortal realm, right? Zuo Jun profound shook his head. I feel that they aren't here just to find the missing Zheng Chu, but also for some other reason. Right now, not only the people from above heaven realm, there are also 2 other devil-subduing colleges who will be moving over. I wonder what Fire Divine Palace will do now. If they do too, then it must mean that there is something hidden in Mortal Wu realm that they covet, or perhaps they have a reason for doing so. Chen Shang pondered. I'll let you know when I have more information. During this time, you should stay in the devil-subduing college with your 2 little lovers. Zuo Jun profound said. Chen Shang nodded his head and was about to leave, but Zuo Jun profound suddenly said, right, your 2 little lovers are not in the residence, they were assigned some tasks by the academy, seems to be in the mountain range over at Sheephead Mountain, they should be there to capture profound beasts. The Goathead Mountain was very close to the devil-subduing college, and it was a very dangerous place, because very few people went in there. Furthermore, there were a lot of powerful demon beasts, especially those that had evolved to the profound beast level. As for whether or not there was a beast in human form, no one knew. They should be in the outer area. Little naughty dragon, go and take a look. Chen Shang quickly arrived at the Sheephead Mountain. The mountain looked like a mountain with 2 big horns, and Chen Shang was standing on top of one of them. Found it, they're hiding in a cave. There are a few people waiting for them in the cave. Long Shui said somewhat angrily. I think they were forced to hide in the cave. There are still many array formations inside the cave. Quick, tell me the location. Chen Shang took out the Alheaven Gate, his voice full of rage. The spatial door opened, and Chen Shang stepped into a dark mountain cave. Lang Yulin and Shui Shenxian were sitting at the end of the mountain cave, holding an oval stone the size of a watermelon in their hands. Chen Shang could feel a dense life force coming out from the oval rock in their hands. He knew they were 2 demon beast eggs, and the kind of demon beasts that had been strong since birth. Chapter 556. Shui Shenxian and Lang Yulin were extremely cautious. Upon sensing that someone was coming, they hurriedly put away the goblin egg in their hands and revealed their weapons, but they very quickly realized that it was Chen Shang and immediately threw themselves into Chen Zhang's embrace. Bro, you scared the hell out of me. Lang Yulin hugged one of Chen Zhang's arm and rubbed it with her cheek. How can you, a white-haired female tyrant, be so easily frightened? Chen Shang laughed, kissed her forehead, then looked towards Shui Shenxian who was in his embrace and softly said, I'm fine. What are you guys doing here? Lang Yulin immediately said angrily, these bastards, they actually refused to let go no matter what. If it wasn't for their numbers, I would have gone out and cut them into pieces and fed them to the dogs. Shui Shenxian sighed. Yulin and I are carrying out a mission for the academy, to capture a profound beast and bring it back so that they can use it to test the students who are registering. We searched for a long time but to no avail. We actually found 2 demon beast eggs, those are flame dragon eagle's eggs. It's actually a flame dragon eagle's egg. Chen Shang opened his eyes wide and took a deep breath. It is said that this thing was born a 9th stage spirit beast. When it grows up, it will definitely be a profound beast. Lang Yulin snorted. That group of turtle eggs only wanted to snatch them from us when they saw us holding them. At that time, they almost stole their eggs from us, and we fought with them once, but we can't put them in our storage rings. They're too much of a hindrance, otherwise we wouldn't be afraid of them. With that said, Lang Yulin was about to walk out, holding a large sword made of white jade dragon bone, releasing an icy cold chi. With Chen Shang here, what was there for her to be afraid of? Yulan, let me do it. I just came out of that stellar transposition realm, so my power has increased a lot. I want to see how strong I am. Chen Shang anxiously pulled Lang Yulin. Lang Yulin's eyes lit up, and laughed heartily. Brother, you just have to find me if you want to train. Those small fries will only waste your strength. I only just came out from the stellar transposition realm, Sister Shenxian and I have stayed here for 20 years, and we are already at the middle stage of the soul martial realm, and we have even reached the 10th level. Chen Shang was immediately dumbstruck. Devil subduing method 10th level, middle stage of the soul martial realm. Moreover, their own aptitudes were not bad, and the martial arts they learned were divine arts. As for the devil subduing method, they had the foundation of the Taiji magic Kung Fu, so it would not be difficult for them to learn the 10th floor in 20 years. Back then, it took him 1 month to reach the 10th floor. What? I don't believe it. If it wasn't for protecting this egg, this lady would have taken care of that bunch of trash by herself. Lang Yulan said proudly. Stupid girl, don't call yourself, old lady, in front of your big brother. Chen Shang laughed and scolded, pinching Lang Yulan's face. I'm at the early stage of the soul martial realm now, but if I really want to play, you are still not my opponent. My dragon power is getting stronger and stronger. When she mentioned the dragon power, Lang Yulan stuck out her tongue, afraid of the terrifying power. Shui Shenxian chuckled. She pulled Lang Yulan and let Chen Shang out. After knowing that the strength of the two girls had increased so quickly, Chen Shang was extremely happy. When he arrived at the entrance of the cave, he found that there were a few stones piled up in front of him. Who are our people? Chen Shang asked. The seniors from the Intermediate Academy. Back then, when we were at the primary academy, they bullied us to the point that we couldn't take it anymore. Now, they are just a fart in this lady's eyes. She had learned the 10th level of devil subduing method and was also training in the Icewind magic Kung Fu, so she naturally had the right to say such words. Chen Shang punched the stone wall, causing it to shake with a boom. The stone walls immediately shattered into pieces and flew outwards. Every piece of stone carried Chen Zhang's dense innate qi, densely hitting onto the stone wall, instantly pushing the 20 people back by 100 steps. These people were all students of the Intermediate Academy, which meant that their strength was at least at the early stage of the soul martial realm. It's Chen Shang. A man who had seen Chen Shang before cried out in alarm, his expression changing greatly. He still vividly remembered the incident where Chen Shang killed that principal. Chen Zhang's eyes flashed with a ruthless killing intent, his gaze swept across the 20 people. Among these people, there were a few extremely beautiful women, but he would not be lenient towards any of them. It's this group of people. They want to kill us and steal the flame dragon eagle's eggs. Lang Yulan said angrily. There are only 3 of them. Although they are very strong, we have more than 20 people and we will definitely be able to take them down. Chen Shang is a fugitive from Devil Subduing College, we must kill him, a man said. I'll pass Chen Shang and Shui Shenxian to you, the white-haired demoness will be taken care of by us. A woman sneered, her seductive eyes filled with viciousness. You bitches, if I hadn't promised my brother I would have hung you naked on a tree and whipped you. Lang Yulan was instantly enraged and scolded. Chen Shang inhaled slightly, and the power of the universe within his body surged crazily, converging into a vicious dragon power. The 5 fingers on his hands were filled with dragon power with white clouds. Just as everyone was shocked by his terrifying dragon power, his feet slipped and his steps became quick and profound. His body dragged a long afterimage, and a deep gully opened at the places he passed. In the blink of an eye, he had already arrived in front of a woman in a blue dress. The palm of his hand, which was condensed with a fierce dragon power, was filled with the power of a thunderbolt as it tore through the air and blasted outwards. 10 earth-shaking thunderbolts struck the woman's chest. The dragon power combined with the power of the 10th level of the devil subduing method, it was truly Chen Zhang's strongest strength. That strong and concentrated strength was like a transparent and huge sharp spear that tyrannically pierced the body of the blue-dressed woman. A wave of bloody mist surged out from the woman's back, and filled the air. It's not over yet. After the force Chen Shang released from his palm pierced through the woman's body, his aura was still shocking, as though it was sweeping through everything. It continued to shoot forward, and in the blink of an eye, another huge bloody hole was opened up in the chest of another man, which came out through his back. In just an instant, 2 soul martial realm warriors were killed by Chen Shang. Their methods were overbearing and cruel, their moves were fast and ruthless, their imposing manner was like thunder, causing people to be extremely fearful. Chapter 557. On the 10th floor of the devil subduing method, those 10 consecutive thunderclaps that shook the heavens struck onto their chests like hammers. The indescribable pressure pressed against their chests, making it hard for them to breathe. They never thought that after not seeing Chen Shang for even a short period of time, Chen Shang would actually become a warrior of the soul martial realm. After using the dragon power, those people were no match for him. They had thought it was strange when they had attacked Leng Yulan and Shui Shenxian together. This was because the strength of the two girls was not low, and it was only because they were holding onto a large egg of a demon beast that they were forced to hide here in order to protect it. Brother, don't let them go. Killing 2 is no different from killing 20. Devil Subduing College has long since treated you as a felon. When the violent woman, Leng Yulan, saw how ruthless she was, and saw that Chen Shang was bleeding all of a sudden, she couldn't help but shout out in excitement. Those people now realized that Chen Shang was not someone who could be judged using common sense. They did have a lot of people, but after seeing Chen Zhang's methods, they did not have any confidence. Quickly go back and report to the academy, tell the elders that Chen Shang is here. An experienced middle-aged man quickly said and started to run away. Although it was separated by 100 steps, Chen Zhang's claws seemed to have penetrated through space. A white dragon claw that was filled with dragon power suddenly appeared on the head of the middle-aged man, and with a grab, it directly crushed the middle-aged man's head. Blood spurted out from his neck like a fountain. Don't even think about escaping. Chen Shang stomped his feet, causing the surrounding area to tremble. Many water vines suddenly rushed out from the ground, binding those who were about to escape. Some of them had already jumped into the air, but they were still wrapped up by the water vines that shot out like lightning, and were being pulled down fiercely. Seeing that, Leng Yulan immediately gave the goblin egg in his hands to Shui Shenxian, took out the big sword refined from her white jade dragon bone, and immediately flew in front of the few men, waving the sword and fiercely slashing at them. These people had previously wanted to snatch her and Shui Shenxian, and wanted to kill them all, but now that it had fallen into her hands, how could she be lenient? This is what happens when you try to kill a girl. Leng Yulan remained expressionless as he chopped off the head of one of the lady. Seeing this, the others all started to plead for mercy. Their faces were filled with shock and regret, but Leng Yulan's big sword was still as cold as ever as it beheaded a woman. In order to not attract attention from others, Chen Shang attacked very quickly as well, immediately flying in front of the people who were entangled by the water vines, using dragon power one palm after another. Following after thunderous rumbling sounds, waves of bloody mist exploded from their backs, as their bodies were pierced through by the berserk devil subduing method. In a short span of 10 breaths, under the quick attacks of Chen Shang and Leng Yulan, the 20 over people were all killed. They did not even have the chance to wail. Leng Yulan skillfully took all of these people's storage treasures, then wiped his own white jade greatsword and let out a carefree and heroic laugh. Bro, I fought to my heart's content today. This group of bastards deserved it. Chen Shang glanced at Shui Shenxian and saw him shake his head helplessly. It seemed that she had done this kind of thing with Leng Yulan quite a few times. Chen Shang waved his hand, and many balls of flame flew out from the center of his palm, accurately landing on the corpses and heads, burning them into ashes. Although they were all soul martial realm, their innate chi was not as dense as Chen Zhang's, and after death they would dissipate faster, so they would have no value in devouring, but those nirvana stages were different. Their true chi was so dense that even if they died, they would be unable to dissipate for a while, and as long as they were sealed, he could still use the devouring magic Kung Fu to devour the energy. Do you guys still want to capture Zon beasts? Chen Shang asked. No need, we have to hurry back to hatch the eggs. Leng Yulan lightly patted the flickering flame on the goblin egg in his hands. This flame dragon eagle is a kind of demonic beast that looks like 3 parts dragons and 7 parts eagles. After it reaches adulthood, it will be extremely powerful and can even take human form. Chen Shang took out the Alheaven gate, opened a spatial door, pulled the 2 girls inside and appeared in the small house halfway up the mountain. After returning to the Devil Subduing College, Leng Yulan and Shui Shenxian heaved sighs of relief. I want to take a good bath. The days of finding the Zon beasts are too boring. Not only did I not find them, I also provoked a group of guys who were soaked in blood. As Leng Yulan spoke, he removed all of the clothes on his body and revealed his beautiful, jade-like body in front of Chen Shang without any worries. Bro, do you want to come along? This was not the first time she was being seen by Chen Shang. Furthermore, she was not afraid of being seen by him in the first place. Chen Shang saw Shui Shenxian's helpless expression, he anxiously turned his head, and coughed twice. No need, go yourself. Sister Shenxian, let's go. Leng Yulan giggled and ran into the bathroom while dragging Shui Shenxian along. Chen Shang looked at the 2 demon beast eggs on the table that were the same size as watermelons and gently stroked them. Incubating an egg is like pouring the same type of energy into it, allowing the little guy inside to absorb it and let it form inside. Once it's fine, it will shatter on its own. Long Shui said. I have a heaven fire soul. Wouldn't it be better to hatch it with my fire? Chen Shang said, about to inject his fire attribute qi. But she was stopped by Long Shui. No, if that's the case, then the little guy inside will not recognize Shenxian and Yulan, and will only recognize you. They really want to be the most pets of a beast, and they also want to cultivate flame. Chen Shang touched his nose. He had Long Shui, the little dragon, so he would obviously not fall for this kind of thing. If Long Shui knew that she was being treated as a beast pet by Chen Shang, he would definitely be scolded like a dog by this young and tender beauty. After Leng Yulan and his bath, he hurriedly hugged onto the demon beast egg as if he would get snatched away by Chen Shang. Are you afraid that Big Brother will want yours? Chen Shang shook his head and laughed. You already have two. Of course I'm not afraid of you taking them. Leng Yulan scoffed. She was currently concerned about Chen Zhang's two precious eggs, causing Chen Shang to be extremely speechless. Shui Shenxian burst out in laughter. Brother Xiao Shang, this flame dragon eagle is very precious to us. We need to hatch quickly and then send it to Divine Weapon's heavenly country for Master to arrange for people to tame. Go ahead. Chen Shang smiled slightly. Big brother, aren't you going to play that naked game with big sister Shenxian? You guys didn't kiss each other either, is it because I'm blocking your way? Leng Yulan pouted and asked. This made Shui Shenxian blush, and he anxiously pulled Leng Yulan into the room. At this moment, Chen Shang heard Zuo Junprofound's sound transmission. Those two devil-subduing college are about to be teleported over. Chapter 558. Chen Shang didn't dare to run around recklessly right now, as the other principal of the devil-subduing colleges weren't as easy to deal with as Zuo Junxuan. If the other devil-subduing colleges came over to capture him, his situation would be even more dangerous as well. This devil-subduing college is the same as the Fire Divine Palace. They have many branches in many different mortal worlds. It seems that I have to be more careful in the future. Fortunately, Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace only knew that he had killed Lu Yufang, the old granny principal. In the future, he still had a chance to save her. Long Shui said, I'm going to use the Heaven Tour method to see what those fellows are talking about. If it's about you, then you should leave this devil-subduing college as soon as possible. Suddenly, Chen Shang felt the ground shake slightly, a burst of majestic spatial energy attacking him. The entire sky changed color, a gust of wind blew, the darkness enveloped the entire ground, it looked extremely terrifying. Chen Shang stood at the door and watched the extremely huge whirlpool in the distance. It was a spatial passageway, and this was the scene of someone trying to teleport a whole other world's devil-subduing college over. Chen Shang also wanted to see what it was like right now. Very quickly, Chen Shang saw a large mountain in the middle of the cyclone in the sky. Amidst the encirclement of the mountain, there were many large buildings made of stone, which were even larger than the buildings that Chen Shang was in, causing Chen Shang to be extremely shocked. Teleportation did not just teleport the devil-subduing college over, it also included a large mountain range. This was truly amazing, as the devil-suppressing divine palace possessed many powerful teleportation formations and abundant resources. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to teleport such a large thing over. Immediately after, Chen Shang felt a strong burst of spatial energy coming from another direction. He immediately looked over, only to see that in the sky above, an incomparably large cyclone had appeared, bringing about bursts of gales. Not long after, an astonishing scene appeared. Another gigantic building descended along with a piece of land, and from afar, it looked like a gigantic palace descended from the heaven realm. It was extremely spectacular, shocking everyone's line of sight. Why did they so extravagantly teleport these two devil-subduing college here from another world? This was the question in Chen Shang, Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu's hearts. Anyone who had a slight understanding of formations would know that the manpower and resources required for teleporting a formation would be incalculable. They definitely did not believe that the devil-suppressing divine palace was searching for Zheng Chu, and they definitely did not believe that the devil-suppressing divine palace was protecting this mortal realm. Little naughty dragon, keep a close eye on these experts. As long as they gather together, you can find out what they are talking about. Chen Shang said. He was extremely confident in Long Shui's heaven tour method. Mortal Wu realm had suddenly gained two more devil-subduing colleges. Right now, they could be said to be the strongest power within the Mortal Wu realm, and even that Fire Divine Palace was far from being able to compare to them. Of course, Chen Shang believed that the Fire Divine Palace had the same goal as him. He guessed that the Fire Divine Palace would make a big move soon. Among the 3 devil subduing colleges, who exactly is going to be the principal? The big shots in the 3 devil subduing colleges probably won't be able to obey the other party, and there will still be people from the heaven realm s. If not for the appearance of a ruthless person with an iron fist, it will be hard to tame these big shots who have been in charge of the sect for a long time. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang was also looking forward to it. Although he had killed more than 30 powerful Nirvana stage warriors in the first profound realm before, which had an impact on the overall strength of the Mortal Wu realm, with so many powerful people here, the pressure on the Mortal Wu realm would not be that great when the Great War between 3 realms first appeared. There's movement. Zuo Junshuan was called to one of the devil subduing college. That's the biggest one there. Long Shui said. Of the current 3 devil subduing colleges, Zuo Junshuan was in charge of the smallest one, and the one who teleported over along with the mountain range was the largest, the second largest formed by countless of huge halls and tall buildings. Keep an eye on him and see how many people are gathered for this meeting. This group of people must be the strongest amongst the 3 devil subduing colleges. Chen Shang said. Yup, Zuo Junshuan's speed is very fast. He arrived at the top of the conical-shaped stone tower. There are so many people in the number 1 Devil Subduing College. Looks like Devil Subduing College is nominally teaching martial arts to deal with demons, so it turns out that he is secretly trying to rope in the outstanding disciples from other sects. Long Shui snorted. Everyone who entered the Devil Subduing College had outstanding talent, and upon entering, they would be attracted by Devil Subduing College's resources, and Devil Subduing College could also use their power to keep these students, leaving the other sects speechless. Isn't this digging at the foot of the wall? How insidious. Chen Shang despised this method. The other sects had worked hard to cultivate their disciples, but Devil Subduing College had directly obtained the fruits of their work. Long Shui continued to probe, and she said with a bit of surprise, that old fellow Zuo Junshuan is also trembling in fear right now. They are all in a meeting, there are more than 50 of them, looks like all of them have passed through the 7th and 8th tribulations of the Nirvana tribulations, they are all very strong. What did they say? Chen Shang asked anxiously. The meeting hasn't started yet. They are waiting for the person coming down from heaven realm. Long Shui said. Not long after Long Shui finished speaking, a series of roars suddenly sounded out in the sky. Chen Shang raised his head and looked, only to see a gold light suddenly shining down. A vortex appeared, followed by a sudden flash of golden light. Dozens of people dressed in white robes appeared, both male and female, old and young, all of them flying towards the gigantic stone building. So strong, the people coming down from heaven realm are really different, these guys are definitely rich. Chen Shang remembered that Zheng Chu had been secretly drooling when he had stored the storage ring. Long Shui said. They are starting a meeting. Zuo Junshuan told him what happened. How did that old woman persecute him? From the looks of the other old fellows, other than Zuo Junshuan, no one else would be able to learn the 10th floor. Quote. I've begun to talk about how you killed that old woman, however, the others did not have much of a reaction, and only said that they will deal with you in order to establish their power. Quote. Chen Shang groaned. Then he would be the one to establish his dominance. That was an extremely foolish thing to do. So that's the case. Their goal in coming here is actually to find a way to enter the Sacred Dan realm. Looks like the higher-ups don't know how to go to the Sacred Dan realm, huh? Long Shui said in shock. Before, Su Meiyao had said that the Sacred Dan realm was an extraordinary existence and she couldn't even go if she wanted to. Chapter 559. Since the devil-suppressing Divine Palace was looking for a way to get to the Sacred Dan realm, then it would make sense for them to go all out, because the alchemists inside the Sacred Dan realm were all top-notch existences, and there were many rare pills inside. Not only the alchemists saw it as a sacred place, there were also many immortals because they could easily find many rare immortal pills inside. They plan to go in the next time when the first profound realm opens. It seems that they have made up their minds to look for that Sacred Dan realm. Could it be that the pills in the heaven realm are really that lacking? Long Shui said. Did they have anything else to say? Chen Shang asked. The way to enter the Sacred Dan realm is in your hands, do you know how to give it to them? Su Yun chuckled. Long Shui asked. Of course I won't give it to them. If they knew that I had the transmission array to enter the Sacred Dan realm, they would have definitely guessed that I had entered the first profound realm. Chen Shang shook his head. It seems that Dan King Li Tianjin has spread quite a bit of information on the Heaven Realm, and told the powers there to come down and search for the sacred Dan realm at all costs. Long Shui suddenly exclaimed, and said in shock, they mentioned the Fire Divine Palace. He actually also sent many strong fellows, and also brought some Fire Divine Palace from other worlds. Fire Divine Palace's strength is similar to Devil Suppressing Divine Palaces. Fire Divine Palace definitely cannot let Devil Suppressing Divine Palace stand out in this mortal Wu realm. Is Fire Divine Palace also looking for him? Chen Shang asked. Looks like Fire Divine Palace wants to recruit alchemists from the inside. No matter what, there will always be a lack of top-notch alchemist. Long Shui said. Long Shui did not have the patience to continue probing, so he retracted his consciousness. The only thing he wanted to do now was to wait for Zuo Junxuan to return and see if he still had a chance to enter the stellar transposition realm. He could still enter for 11 more days. Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin were hatching eggs, and Chen Shang did not disturb them. He sat in the courtyard during the evening, and only then did Zuo Junxuan hurry over. Principal Zuo, how is it? Can I still enter that stellar transposition realm? Chen Shang asked anxiously. I'm afraid that won't do. All 3 Devil Subduing Colleges have been taken over, and like the other principals of Devil Subduing College, I can only be the vice principal. If I want to enter the stellar transposition realm, I need the permission of the principal. Zuo Junxuan shook his head helplessly. Chen Shang sighed. Then what's the attitude of those fellows towards my matter? The other 2 Devil Subduing Colleges who have just moved over and the old fogey from Heaven Realm headquarters all agreed that they wanted to catch you because, despite being students of the Devil Subduing College, you killed a principal and this principal isn't guilty of your crimes. Of course, the reason they want to capture you is mainly to show you to the other powers, and can be considered as an act to establish your might. You have not stayed in the Devil Subduing College for long, but you should be able to see that although the Devil Subduing College has imparted powerful martial arts techniques to them, but they have secretly used extremely generous benefits to rope in outstanding talents. Chen Shang nodded his head and asked again, since that old woman is dead, there's no point in pursuing the matter any further. If I were to use my things to exchange, would they let me off? Chen Shang thought that money could be used by the gods. He wanted to try and see if he could use some precious herbs to dissolve the hatred between him and the Devil Subduing College. Oh, what are you going to trade for? Zuo Junxuan raised his brows. The person in charge of the entire Devil Subduing College right now is someone who came down from above. Chen Shang smiled slightly. Nature fruit, he definitely won't think that there's too much of this. As long as he does not pursue this matter with me, he can obtain this nature fruit. He doesn't need to pay for it, nor do I need to bear the burden, and can easily get a nature fruit. I think he'll agree to it. The nature fruit could refine the manifestation pill. Su Meiyao had said before that even immortals would be envious of the manifestation pill, let alone the nirvana stage. Right now, Chen Shang did not lack a single nature fruit. Giving one was not even a big deal, it could avoid getting entangled by the Devil Subduing College, the strong power. Zuo Junxuan was startled. He had of course heard of Chen Shang winning against a nature fruit in the martial contest of the king, but he did not expect Chen Shang to give it up. I will communicate with the new dean. Wait for my news, Zuo Junxuan said. Chen Shang did not wait long before a tall middle-aged man who looked ordinary flew over. Seeing the imposing white-robed middle-aged man, Chen Shang immediately stood up. He knew that this was the new principal that had descended from the Heaven Realm, and the light immortal aura that coiled around his body made him look different from the masses. You are Chen Shang. The middle-aged man squinted his eyes and sized Chen Shang up, making Chen Shang feel as if his body was being stared at by something. Indeed, senior is. Man Futian, it's the new principal. Where's your nature fruit? This man was very direct, it seemed like he was moved by Chen Zhang's conditions. Chen Shang smiled and immediately took out the nature fruit. When he was able to condense the creation divine liquid, he had already brought out a few, and what he gave Man Futian was what he got from that Wang Quan. The nature fruit was a fist-sized, pure white fruit that emitted a faint, pure white light. You will no longer be a student of the Devil Subduing College. Furthermore, I will publicly announce that you killed Lu Yufeng because of a personal grudge between you and her, and in the future, the Devil Subduing College will definitely no longer pursue the matter of you killing Lu Yufeng. All right, Man Futian said. Chen Shang gently tossed the nature fruit over, as if it was a normal fruit. He didn't mind at all and was completely straightforward, which surprised Man Futian and Zuo Junxuan, because even they found it hard to act like Chen Shang, who casually gave the nature fruit to him, without feeling any pain. Deal. Chuckled. If he could avoid being entangled by the devil-subduing college, he could at least avoid having to hide in the East. The devil-subduing college will hold a tournament not only for the students of the devil-subduing college, but also for the entire mortal Wu realm. If you can get a good rank, you will be able to enter the stellar transposition realm. Man Futian also smiled slightly. He appreciated a straightforward person like Chen Shang. Chen Shang could guess that it was definitely because Zuo Junxuan asked him about the matter of letting him into the stellar transposition realm. Hee, because I'm famous, you want me to make a name for myself and attract a lot of people, right? Chen Shang laughed. But when the time comes, the Fire Divine Palace will definitely send people too. You must be careful, as far as I know, you are their target. Man Futian's words made Chen Zhang's face turn serious. Chen Shang nodded his head, then flew away. Zuo Junxuan sighed. This is great, to be able to get a nature fruit so easily. If it was me, I would also be doing it. To these nirvana stage, rare medicinal pellets were even more attractive. Although they had powerful strength and a huge amount of wealth, they did not have these rare medicinal pellets just because they were there. Chapter 560. Now that Chen Shang and the devil-subduing college were even, but he still wanted to stay in the devil-subduing college. He wanted to see what kind of powerful martial arts the devil-subduing college had. Chen Shang had come over once during this period and his attitude was very good. He had even allowed Chen Shang to continue staying in the devil-subduing college as a student, clearly intending to rope Chen Shang in. Man Futian came down from the heaven realm, but he had only passed through the 8 tribulations of the nirvana realm. Although he had brought a lot of resources down from there, it was inevitable that he would need other things in the future. He knew that Chen Shang knew Hua Shangyu, and that was one of the few alchemists. Very quickly, all of devil-subduing college's bounties on Chen Shang were revoked, and they even announced that they had severely punished Chen Shang, saying that he had changed his life and was brave enough to admit his wrongs. However, Chen Shang was still in the devil-subduing college in the future, which made many young people who were fighting for victory extremely excited. This was because in this way, he would have the chance to compete with Chen Shang, and as long as he defeated Chen Shang, they would be able to become famous in the world. So boring. After so long, the egg still hasn't moved at all. Leng Yulin pouted her lips and stretched lazily. She came out of the room, but the moment she saw Chen Shang, she immediately pounced on him and pulled his hand, waving gently asking Chen Shang to bring her out for a walk. Shui Shenxian shook her head and laughed. Yulan, you have to be patient. Didn't you say you want to become a female warrior whose name shook the world while riding on a flame dragon eagle? Leng Yulin pouted her long, beautiful white hair, and upon seeing Chen Zhang's disdainful smile, she stomped her feet. Sister Shenxian, continue, I must hatch the flame dragon eagle. Chen Shang laughed. I believe you can do it. Oh right, I need to go back to the super martial school. It might be some time before I return. Go, you don't have to worry about us. Shui Shenxian walked in front of Chen Shang, stood on her tiptoes and kissed Chen Shang on the lips. Chen Shang took out the Luo Tianmen, opened a spatial door, and went to the forest outside the city of the king. After that, he entered the city and passed through the transmission array, returning to the Chen martial continent. Inside Super Martial School, Ji Yu Dongchen was looking at Chen Shang in disbelief. Young senior uncle, what method did you use to make the devil-subduing college forget about you? And not only that, you also didn't investigate the past, allowing you to continue staying in the devil-subduing college. Ji Yu Dongchen was very suspicious about this. That's my ability. I'm going to look for master. Do you want to come with me? Chen Shang laughed. Hearing that he was going to look for Huang Jintian, Ji Yu Dongchen looked like he had seen a ghost. His expression changed and he anxiously shook his head. Go by yourself, I have to take charge of Super Martial School now, I don't have time to make him suffer. After returning to the Super Martial School, Chen Shang felt that the atmosphere in the Super Martial School had changed. Everyone inside acted very quickly, and the cities outside had become much quieter, and the number of Super Martial School disciples who were looking for fun in the city had become fewer and fewer. Currently, the Super Martial School was enveloped in a nervous atmosphere. Everyone was speeding up their pace to increase their strength, because once the Great War between 3 realms erupted, this Chen martial continent would be the front line for the battlefield. When Huang Jintian saw that Chen Shang had arrived, he was no longer surprised. He did not torture him anymore as he stared at Chen Shang with a look of disbelief. Little brat, you're actually able to steadily raise your cultivation without relying on me. Furthermore, it happened so quickly, just how did you manage to do that? Huang Jintian tugged on Chen Zhang's ear and asked. The last time Chen Shang had entered the spirit martial realm, he was here, but not long after, Chen Shang had entered the soul martial realm. I stayed in the stellar transposition realm for a long time, and I even learned a powerful martial arts, which helped me steadily increase my cultivation. Chen Shang anxiously said, and then explained the situation between stellar transposition realm and him. Huang Jintian released Chen Shang. So it's like that, there really are many extraordinary powers outside. Master, can you help me predict the nirvana doom of two people? Both of them are at the nirvana tribulation. Chen Shang said. Such a heaven-defying ability like Huang Jintian was extremely rare in this world. Huang Jintian stroked his beard, and said straightforwardly, one of them must be Lu Meng'er, that girl. I never thought that she would grow up so fast. I remember she just passed the 7th tribulation not long ago. Who is the other one? Previously, Huang Jintian had said that anyone that Chen Shang trusted could come to him to predict nirvana doom. She is called Hua Shangyu, Dan Fragrance Pure Land. Before Chen Shang could finish his words, he was interrupted by Huang Jintian. This Hua Shangyu is no good, as for why you didn't ask, I won't tell you. Chen Shang was dumbstruck. He actually couldn't help Hua Shangyu predict nirvana doom, and there was another reason as well. Why? Chen Shang wanted to know, and anxiously asked. I told you not to ask, be careful that I didn't beat you up. Huang Jintian waved his hands as he released the dragon power. Very quickly, Huang Jintian condensed a white pearl. Inside it was the content of Lu Meng'er's 8 tribulations. Chen Shang took it, put it away properly, and was about to leave. However, he was stopped by Huang Jintian. Seeing the mischievous smile on Huang Jintian's face, Chen Shang knew that he was about to get into trouble. Just as he was pulled back, his back was hit by Huang Jintian's palm. The pain spread throughout his entire body, causing him to feel weak. Following that, Huang Jintian began to train on him, causing him to scream miserably. It was extremely cruel. Huang Jintian kept doing this for over a month. During this month, although Chen Shang felt like he was in hell, the rewards he reaped were great because Huang Jintian was always fighting with him, training him in actual combat. You can go now. Huang Jintian stretched his back. Chen Shang did not say anything. He immediately jumped, but just as he jumped up, his body was suddenly locked down by a force. Master, please spare me. Chen Shang pleaded. Hee, before you left, I'll teach you another move. Your senior brother only learned it when you were in the 100 refining realm, but I feel that you should be able to learn it now. Huang Jintian chuckled, his hands pushed forward, and an incomparably majestic dragon power surged out from his palms. These dragon power were different from the ones Chen Shang had seen before. They were extremely powerful, and formed into a white mist. Dragon subduing returning essence. Huang Jintian laughed. The terrifying qi released from his hands turned into a mighty white dragon. Baring his fangs and brandishing his claws, he pounced towards Chen Shang. The dragon's roar pierced through the clouds, shaking the world. Just as it was about to reach Chen Shang, the white dragon that was made of terrifying energy suddenly disappeared, but it brought along a gust of wind that blew Chen Shang out of the deep pit. Chen Zhang's bottom fell onto the grass beside the sky cavern, and the dragon's roar that he had just received was still reverberating in the super-martial profound realm. He still vividly remembered that destructive force, and when he thought back to it, he felt that he would be immediately destroyed.